welcome back to another episode of the Knee Slappin' K-Pop podcast. I'm Sammy. With me today I have the lovely Kayla.
Hello, hello.
And the lovely Maria.
Yo, what's up?
And we're here for my favorite pastime, video
Sammy's
games.
absolute favorite, number one pastime.
Absolute favorite one.
I spend so much of my time playing.
Ironically.
So many hours.
It's
So many
ironic
hours.
because she doesn't.
Look, if you want the full story, I never got video games as a child.
Mhm.
My parents thought they were a waste of time, and I never got into them, so they weren't going to spend money on, like, more stuff. And
That was,
then
like, one of the big things when we first met was you having, like, never played video games in your life before,
Yeah.
essentially.
that
It
was
was kinda
that
wild.
was a bonding moment right there.
To me, that was kind of wild, but
We
yeah.
have since played some video games. I
have.
wouldn't say a lot of video games, but we have played some
And, like,
video games.
it's not that I had never played a video game in my life. It's mainly the
Right.
fact that I have to play a very specific type of video game because I think many people won't know, and this is probably why your parents sucked at video games when you were a kid, is that it is really easy to learn those, like, hand-eye coordination skills specific for video games as a child.
Yeah.
It is not as easy to do as an adult or a teen.
Yep.
Just saying, like, I don't have the muscle memory for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
True.
I don't have the... So we have all just put on a list of our 10 favorite video games.
I feel
Mine
like it's,
is-
like, very...
Mine
you
are all
have,
video
like-
games.
They are. They're
technically.
video games.
Yeah.
They are video games.
They are video
They
games.
are video games.
I feel
Any-
like we
any-
represent like three differing levels of video games.
I'm your grandma.
too, as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Kayla, I don't know if you or me is more the video gamer of
I
the
play
three of
I
us.
play video games way more than you do. I can guarantee you that. But I feel
Probably,
like we
yeah.
play very different genres of games. As
That
well.
too, honestly. But
I
that's
think
the
that's
beauty
the
of,
big
but
thing,
that's also
yeah.
why I love video games, because there literally is a game out there for everybody, or a type of game out there for anyone to play. You know, and that's
And,
what I think
you
the
know,
beauty of it is.
I
like,
also play
you know,
these video games sometimes, and they work for me.
I will say I do like have a very, I would say, pretty wide genre of games on mine, and like I wasn't even trying for that, but I do feel like they're not like one genre. I feel like I have a decent variety on my list.
I think I
mean,
got
from
a decent
the
one
bits
too,
I'm
but
able
it's definitely
to-
going to be different. And
Yeah.
it's
And
like,
from the bits I'm able to understand about Kayla's video gaming, she does play a lot of different games.
I do.
I
I
know.
definitely have a handful of favorite genres of games for sure, but I do have like I play a lot of different.
I
games.
think I might have a lot to say about the stuff you put on your list, because the ones I put on my
Yeah.
list are probably not ones you kind of not expect as much, but it's also kind of like,
right.
they're
right.
ones that I feel like I've played either completed or played a lot of to like justify talking about it. Other ones that I think you have played, I haven't completed those or played enough to talk about it, so that's
Mhm.
why I'm gonna be like, okay, I like that too, but I haven't completed it, so I
Right,
think that's
right,
what's
right.
gonna happen, but we'll
yes,
see.
yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because I haven't seen your list yet, so it'll be interesting.
No, we have not seen each other's list. I know the general vibe of Sammy's list because we've talked about that, but that's about all I know about any of them. So,
All right,
It'll be
who shall go first?
all right, I'm gonna go first. So
Okay.
my 10th favorite video game is Alice: The Madness Returns
Ooh,
by
okay.
American McGee. So it's a 2011 video game by the company Spicy Horse. It's an action-adventure hack-and-slash video game. I will say, I myself not finished the game because it's difficult. I don't have the
okay.
skills
Fair.
for the game, and it's also like this type of hack-and-slash like action-adventure is like not really the genre of game I normally play, but I love Alice in Wonderland. I love dark retellings of Alice in Wonderland, and this visually and like story-wise was by far my favorite of that I've ever consumed in any media. I really like it. The visuals, I mean, it's a 2011 video game, so they're like they don't hold up super great now, but at the time, I thought they were really cool.
Fair.
I think the storyline's pretty cool. The art style and the villains and the story, everything about it was great for me. And as someone who has always enjoyed Alice in Wonderland retellings, like this was absolutely it for me.
Nice. Is this on Steam? Out of curiosity.
Probably.
I mean,
not
that's
at
kind
this
of a
point,
dumb question to
probably.
ask, but like Steam's like the dominant
it wasn't for a
PC
while.
gamer, like PC gaming site, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes there's a few things that aren't on Steam. It's usually
so
because
I
it's either a
played
console
this-
exclusive or
Yeah.
something
So
else.
it wasn't it is on Steam, I'm pretty sure now.
Yeah.
I played this so long ago. I had like a game disc of it, like
Oh, damn,
physical, physical CD of it. Yeah.
They still made those in 2011. Jeez.
Yep,
oh boy.
yep.
I mean, I think they still do. I think Larian's making one for Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh,
They're trying to distribute them.
I own that, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a physical game
But
disc,
also-
because I bought
but-
the collector's edition
But
of
also
that.
That's
legit,
fun.
who builds PCs anymore with like CD-ROM sections
Nobody.
in them? Not a lot of people. No,
Yeah.
not a lot. Unless you're like that type of old school gamer that does, but
I
no one
have-
really does that anymore.
I do
have
have
like
an
a
external
USB
one.
attachment
Yeah.
thing. One,
I have
yeah.
an external one, but I don't
Right.
have one that's built
I
into
did
mine.
not build one in.
Funny
yeah.
thing about this game is I have heard of, mainly because I had a Alice in Wonderland curiosity in my life, so I have read the Wikipedia article for this game.
Oh, nice.
Never
nice.
played it.
Right.
Had
Oh,
no
nice.
interest in actually playing it, but I have read I do distinctly remember reading the Wikipedia article, because in my Alice in Wonderland, like, finding new retellings, this one has come up many times. This one always comes up.
Mm-hmm.
It's very famous. I've heard of it.
Damn, I don't
And
know how I
thus-
missed it, but like I do like Alice in Wonderland as an idea, and it took me a while to read like the Lewis Carroll, was it Lewis Carroll books?
Yes.
Or at least
The
one
books
of
are
them.
fun. The books have infinitely less plot than any adaptation you
Yes,
will ever
definitely.
find.
I mean,
That is a
it's,
thing you have to
but there's
get.
enough- but there's
if you're
enough
ever going
there
to
to
read it,
go
you
off
have
on.
to. There is, but I'm saying
Yeah.
if you ever want to read that book, I think it is very clear someone needs to know that, like, if any idea you had of Alice in Wonderland has infinitely more plot than that book will ever dream of having.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it also was like the 1800s.
Which is the point.
I wouldn't say the
Which is the
1800s
point.
were big for super plot-heavy
It
stories.
is the point.
But, yeah.
Again, I'm saying that is the point of the book. I'm just saying, like, you gotta. All of the adaptations are so different from the book in that way.
Yeah. The first time I actually heard about this game was because back in high school I used to watch PewDiePie, and he played
Oh,
this game.
okay.
And that's how I heard about it, and then I was like, I want to play that game. And then so I
I
went and
heard about
bought
this
it.
game from Tumblr.
Ah,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
it feels very like
Yeah,
very-
that
it
makes
feels like
sense.
a
very
very
This, is,
Tumblr
this,
big
is,
on
this,
Tumblr.
this gives
Tumblr.
Tumblr
Very
influence,
Tumblr.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 2011 Tumblr game.
Yes,
Ugh.
that for sure.
And anything
Chef's kiss.
Disney
That's
adjacent
perfect.
that has a dark edge to it.
Oh, that was
Absolutely,
Tumblr
everyone-
was
it's a-
eating that
it
shit
is
up in
Tumblr.
2011. Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
Tumblr.
It's
Yeah.
very Tumblr.
Yes, yes.
I mean, this is also
Okay.
the same Tumblr that freaked out over like live acting Peter Pan people. So,
I mean, there's also a lot of live action Peter Pans.
there are
so
but,
many
like,
live
What am I
action-
trying to say? Like,
I was
the
a
guys
bit
that work
more
in
of
the park
a. I
character
was always
Peter
a
Pan
bit
people.
more of a. Like, I also had that weird, like, I think everyone did, where it's like live action Alice in Wonderland, live action Peter Pan, because those are just that keep getting adapted.
Yeah.
So many times.
Yeah. All right, Maria.
All
what's
right,
your
let's
10th
see.
game?
I feel like you guys might judge me for this, but surprisingly very influential to me as a child. Let's see. So it's I have to explain myself. So here we are. We put this on the bottom.
I mean,
for the
something
reason that
about
it's an
this
EA game.
I'm
number
gonna
one.
be honest. I'm gonna be honest, Maria. Something about this makes perfect sense.
It does. A lot. So it's for some
I don't
reason
think
it
I don't
makes
think
sense.
I don't think as much explanation is needed as you think there is.
Right.
It makes
Okay,
perfect.
so here's the
we are the
thing.
correct age for this.
So Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which I titled Harry Potter 3, but specifically the Game Boy Advance version, because the Game Boy Advance was the very first console, specifically handheld console, I ever had as a kid. And I don't know how cheap they were, but they must have been pretty cheap.
That was
I
also
had one, my
first
sister had
console
one.
Too. That
Yeah.
my first one was Game Boy Advance too.
And this one in particular, because this is the first one that I ever remember 100% completing the game and maxing out all my stats on. As like when did this film? 2005. So I was like 8 or 9 when I
Yeah.
played this. So no, I was 9. I think
That sounds
probably.
like the
I was
perfect
probably
age
9.
for this.
yes.
Yeah. So I was probably 9 playing that. I personally think this is actually a decently well made EA IP movie licensed video game. Maybe a part that's a little bit nostalgia,
Right.
but I actually think it's pretty well done. And now that I look back when I'm older, I realize a lot of it's kind of based off of turn-based style play, but also kind of like reminiscent of Final Fantasy, but also a combination of Pokemon as well. So, like, I think that was part of the reason why I liked it, because it
Does
was
it have
really how it plays.
like the Pokemon RPG kind of element?
Well, like, you can
combat
have,
to
like,
it?
so, like, you could, yeah, it's like the turn-based combat where it's like, you hit, you get an injury, or you can take a potion, or you can have your little,
right.
like,
Okay.
character animal
Yeah.
help fight something. But it's not exactly like Pokemon, but it's more like it's reminiscent of that, but also like, you know, the Final Fantasy-esque, like, original turn-based style of, like,
Right,
using
right.
potions and stuff like that. But, you know, for kids. So it's actually, I think, decently well made, at the time. And yeah, this was just influential, because now it's kind of made me kind of like more turn-based style combat as I've gotten older, and I remember playing this, and I was just like, oh, that was fun. But yeah, I also wanted to give a shout out to the Game Boy Advance SP. Very lovely. I still have my system. To what I know of, it still works. I haven't tested it out in a hot minute,
I don't, because I
still
sold
have
mine
it.
at GameStop, and I'm really sad about that now as an adult.
Yeah.
You sold at GameStop for $25.
I know, it's really sad.
And a dream.
My sister's broke though, because I think it was dropped.
I sold all of my old consoles to GameStop. It's really sad, actually. And now as an adult, I really wish I had them, but
you got
yeah.
no
I mean,
I
not
was
that
scammed.
Personally, I don't really whip mine out that much to play them, but like I have them because I'm like I'm debating.
But I feel like
if I want to hold on to it for
those
like
memories at least
reasons.
are more than $25.
Oh yeah, they are.
Exactly.
But also, I'm kind of like debating of it depends if they still work and stuff like that. If they don't work, I might just find an electronics shop to try to fix them up or something if it's worth it or not. But I haven't played them in a hot minute, so I don't know if they still work. Do I know if they do? But you know, it's been a hot minute, so they could very well not work. But I have to double check. But I'm in the process of like boxing that up and moving things at the moment. So yeah, no, this was, I think, pretty influential, and actually, relatively decent. As much as EA sometimes is the bane of my fucking existence, and it annoys me to god end that they kind of have basically a monopoly on not only, like, simulation games, but also this fucking sports games, oh my god. It annoyed the shit out of me, and they're kind of a shitty company, but this, I'll give them credit where credit's due, this was a pretty solid IP, movie, licensed title. And a lot of those tend to be, back in the day, they were pretty common in the mid-2000s. And in like the early and mid-2000s and stuff, but, you know, this one was relatively pretty decent. And I would actually recommend probably searching this one out, honestly, if you want to. It's not too bad for IP licensed game. Game Boy Advance version. Can't speak for the other variations, though. But Game Boy Advance version, pretty solid, in my opinion. But yeah, that's about it.
Nice.
I want to point out this is technically a video game.
What is it?
I would like to just say it's technically a video game.
This will be very interesting.
It's Solitaire.
Oh, okay.
Solitaire. Alright, yeah.
I mean, look. Who has ever taken a deck of cards and made a game of Solitaire for yourself? You don't. No one has ever done that. I have done that maybe once. I have that when I was bored out of my mind.
When our
like,
power went out in our house
easier?
when I was a child, I did, but that was
Dude,
about the only
I love
instance in my
Solitaire, doing
life
that
I
at
ever
school, just like turning it on and just when in like computer class when you're waiting, just
let it play. Why not? I have no idea.
I like
who
the
owns
question
the
marks.
rights to Who owns the rights to Solitaire?
To video game Solitaire on the computer?
No.
I don't know. I think it's just an easy
generally
I feel like
game.
because it's free on it is also the most unilateral. It is
you can
for
play
the
it by
common
yourself.
Man.
I mean,
if
well,
you have
Solitaire,
a computer, you have free Solitaire on your computer.
You do.
If
Everyone
you have
has
Google, if you Google Solitaire, there's a free Solitaire. Just Google.
It is one of the most
Google
accessible games.
It is
you
truly
could
one
ask
of the
for,
most
so.
accessible games imaginable.
You can
it
play.
Is for the,
you can play
all
in real
you
life.
need is a deck
you can
of
play it at
cards
home.
in real life.
Yeah. I mean, Solitaire is built for playing by
There's free versions
yourself.
on your phone. There's a free version on your iPad.
Yeah.
There's a free version on everything.
Everywhere.
It's
for
a
the
great
common
universal
man.
equalizer.
It's the true universal equalizer.
It's a game
Solitaire.
for the people.
It is a game
It's
for
for
it
the
is,
people.
it is my list, not the list of the people.
The list of the people,
No.
the common man.
Everyone can. You can play Solitaire when you're like 6, and you can play Solitaire when you're like 106. Like truly, it is a game for the masses.
As long as you know how to play Solitaire, and then you're golden.
I mean, I think at 6 years old, we can explain to you how Solitaire works.
You
know
also
your numbers,
just start,
you know your colors. You got there.
clicking on cards, and
you can just start clicking on cards.
Like,
a lot of those Solitaires do
that.
the work for you.
Yeah.
Especially online Solitaire. But like, you can just spend hours just click, click, click. It's a good time. You don't need to put too much brain power in it. It's like a Sudoku, but more fun.
Yeah.
Because there's not as much math involved.
I say this counts as a video game. It's definitely
It is a video game.
It's not a it's a very simplistic video game. But
it's a very
counts.
rare
It's a video game.
there's a very rare situation in which I would decide to take to go find a deck of cards. Get a deck of cards.
Lay it out on
Find
table.
enough space for me to lay out those cards and then play Solitaire.
Mm-hmm.
Because then there's just a point in Solitaire where it might be impossible, and that's the other fun part about Solitaire. Is every once in a while you get a roll, because it is random. You get a deck that's just like, oh no, I can't finish this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not possible. So that's always fun, and I think Solitaire is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do I have any idea about who owns Solitaire?
No.
No, I think
it's old as shit.
It's a card game.
Old.
I don't think you can put I think you can't copyright solitaire the same way you can't copyright poker.
Right.
I don't know if you can even
Like-
copyright chess games, honestly.
You can't
Besides-
copyright chess.
Well, with the exception of the Netflix version of the Queen's Gambit, but that's it.
Well, yeah, but that's like not. That's a different. It's different because
Wait,
the Queen's Gambit is not just chess.
Yeah, except
The
I'm pretty
game
sure
of the
it's. I'm pretty sure it's literally just like their version of chess.
It
branded,
is, but that's
like,
not. But you can't copyright chess.
No,
You can't copyright solitaire. It is the great equalizer. It is the public domain.
The great equalizer.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you. I don't
Or
know
checkers.
if public domain is the correct description of this, but it is basically public domain.
Sure.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know what else to call it, so let's
Because
go
it's
with
not
that.
like it was invented
Solitaire.
from someone on a computer. Like, it was already around.
No, it
as
is a card game.
So, like,
And
yeah.
God knows who made that.
Right.
Wikipedia might, but
like,
I don't
feel like the only
looking
way
it
you
up
could
now.
copyright a solitaire thing or try to would be like
You can
maybe a
copyright
certain
the
design,
cards.
like the
You can
specific
copyright
design of the
but
cards
that's
or
the
the style of
cards.
them.
That's
yeah.
not the solitaire.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at the same time, with the same deck of cards, you can play poker, you can play blackjack, you can play
Yeah.
any other card-based game.
Yeah,
Because there's also the other versions of solitaire.
true.
I'm picking
Like the what's the one that's Spider Solitaire too?
There's Spider Solitaire. Normal Solitaire is also called Klondike Solitaire.
Okay.
That's the one I play. I don't like Spider Solitaire. It is less fun for me. But yes,
Too many
Solitaire.
cards involved in that one.
There's a lot going on. Kayla. Let's
All
get
right,
us back
Kayla.
to real video gaming.
So number 9 is actually like incredibly timely pick on my part.
I love that
So
for us.
it's Ace Attorney
Ooh,
Investigation
hell
2, Prosecutor's Gambit. The
I was
reason
about
I
to
say
say the
it's very,
coming down.
the reason I
What's
say
up?
it's very timely is because up until the Nintendo Direct that aired literally this week, this
Yeah.
game was not available to play in America. It was locked in Japan for the entirety of 2011 until now. And there has
Rock
been a
on.
very popular fan translation, like, mod of it that has been played, and that's really the only way you could ever play it. But now it has been announced that the Ace Attorney investigation series, games 1 and 2, are being remastered and localized. The second one finally localized for the Western audience, so
Yee.
it'll actually be officially available to play now. And it's honestly such a crime that it took them, however, like fucking 13 years to figure out that they needed to localize it, because it's easily the best game in the entire Ace Attorney franchise.
Huh.
And I honestly don't think this is even a hot take if you play the Ace Attorney games, but the spin-off games are better than the base Ace Attorney franchise.
Yeah, I've only played a smidge of the
fantastic.
base. So like
Yeah.
I want to try these out at some point.
Because
but
I think what
yeah.
the base games they all have problems with is they have like a problem with a continual storyline, essentially. A lot of them, what they do is they put one big storyline at the last case, and then the other ones are kind of like all disconnected, and some of them are like really bad and annoying to play through with the little like one-shot cases type stuff.
Yeah.
The Ace Attorney investigations, both games, have a very continual storyline where it's like you're following the same case all the way through the game. And the second game, it's kind of own little contained story, but it also picks up from the end of the first game, and you get a sort of even continuation off of that.
Mm.
And it just does, I think, such a better job with character development and storytelling, and the puzzle solving aspect of it. And I just think it's so good. The gameplay style of it, because you're not in a courtroom, is a little bit different. You're doing a very similar thing, 'cause you're also playing as Miles Edgeworth in these games and not as Phoenix Wright or any of the other like attorney characters that are in the base Ace Attorney franchise. So you're kind of doing the courtroom debates, except you're just doing it with people like at a crime scene. So it's like it's similar enough where the gameplay doesn't take like that, it's not that different that you need to adjust to it, but it's just a little bit, the deduction part is not exactly the same. But this game is great. I really can't talk about it at all story-wise without spoiling it, and because it's finally getting localized, I definitely don't want to do that now since it'll be way more accessible for anyone to play. But I highly recommend these two games. They're so good. The first one's a little bit slow. The second one is fantastic. One of the best stories they've told in this entire franchise. It's really,
Yeah,
really
I'm
good.
looking forward to this one, mainly because I actually want to finally get into playing the Ace
Mhm.
Attorney games more, and
Yes.
I barely played a little bit of, like, I think the very first Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney
Right,
one.
right.
So, like, I'm not even that far into it, so I can't say I,
Yeah.
like, really played it. But
right.
life's been busy, so like, and things are on the
yeah.
backlog, so I want to like eventually get that and play that. And I did pay attention to the Nintendo Direct, and actually, from what I heard, it was a really good Direct overall, and I was like, okay, this seems fun. Nintendo's doing some stuff.
It was surprisingly good considering the Switch is at the end of its life as a console. It was like there was a lot more announcements there than anyone was expecting to hear, and they were all like
I mean,
cool
it sounds like they're just gonna pull a Switch 2, most likely, unless they call it something else.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, most likely what I'm thinking is that the big upgrade will probably be just improved hardware so they can handle bigger, AAA games.
I think it's gonna be a Switch, but a little
similar
bit better.
to like a Steam Deck.
Right.
Because I think that's really what they're competing against now. They're not competing against, like, PlayStation or Xbox at this point. They're competing against the handhelds, like Steam Deck and stuff. Because those, I think, understandably are taking off more, for different reasons. But, so yeah, like, I you know, it's actually cool that, I don't know why it was region blocked for whatever reason beforehand. Japan
So they did the same
confuses
thing.
me.
Today's franchise did the same thing with their other side offshoot franchise, The Great Ace Attorney, which is about Phoenix Wright's like ancestor, like way back in time, and in London, and he's over there. And those two games are also phenomenal, and they also do the same thing that Investigations does, where the storyline is like very cohesive and like linear throughout all of them, so you're following one like major storyline all the way through. And I feel like those games are better because they were released after the original like Ace Attorney franchise, and so I think they figured out storytelling better at that point in time. But those two franchises, the offshoot franchises, are both phenomenal gameplay. Like, I love both of those even more so than the actual Ace Attorney like base franchise. So
are those
games.
Ones that you just mentioned still region locked?
No, those got released on Switch a couple years ago.
Okay.
So they translated both of those and released them Western before they got Investigations 2, which is kind of crazy because those games came out way after Investigations 2. But anyway, I was really afraid this game was just going to be lost media forever, essentially.
Well, it always confuses me when they don't do that. It's just like, do you not want to profit more off of your game? Why it takes so long? Like, I wonder what bullshit, corporate jargon was going on there.
This game specifically, I have no idea. For The Great Ace Attorney, I heard what took them so long is because it was so specifically Japanese, it was hard for them to westernize in a lot of cases because it dealt with a lot of racism towards Japanese people in, like, London. And there was a lot of very specific Japanese things in it. I think that they were trying to figure out how to translate over for Western audiences, but I feel like the way they did it was very good. Like, the racism part's definitely still in there, but I mean, that's like what a Japanese person would have experienced at that time period. So,
or really anywhere outside of Japan, probably they would have experienced, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing that might have held it up is that Sherlock Holmes is a character in that game, the Great Ace Attorney. I think that was also that's another thing.
That's the other problem.
So his character name is literally Herlock Sholmes instead, which is very funny.
So kind of like the fake Michael Jackson and kind of like the fake Michael Jackson and fake Steven Spielberg and Yakuza 0, where they're clearly not those guys. Or actually, are they named that? I think Spielberg might be, but it's the other guy's obviously fake Michael Jackson, but it's very clearly inspired off of Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
but it's funny.
This game, I don't know why it took them 13 years to localize it, but we will have it soon. So very exciting. Looking forward to it a lot.
Woo! All right, next one's my turn, right?
Yes, what's yours, Maria?
All right, let's see. If you can see it, number 9! Zoo Tycoon! Oh god, so early CD-ROM games that I played as a kid, Zoo Tycoon. More so, definitely OG Zoo Tycoon, and like the complete collection of that, which was like, I think, also had like the, basically SeaWorld stuff, but I don't know if it was called that, and then like the dinosaur part as well. So that was a thing. I played this a shit ton as a kid.
I also played this game a lot as a kid.
Oh my god, so much.
It was one of my go-to games, Zoo Tycoon.
So much. I actually kind of recently downloaded it back onto my computer. I found a way to do it without crashing.
I was not a roller coaster tycoon kid. I was a zoo tycoon.
No, I was Zoo Tycoon.
Sure.
I had my super big animal love affair as a child. Still love animals, but just not, I'm not psychotic over them anymore. As a kid, which I don't know, maybe is a good thing, or at least a more realistic being like, yeah, maybe don't hug the chimpanzee because that guy could rip your face off, kind of deal. But actually, I think there's like a famous case too where someone had a pet chimpanzee, they ripped their friend's face off, and then poor lady's disfigured because of that.
If you want to also watch the movie Nope, that's
where they essentially recreate that.
Oh, yep. I know what you're talking about. yeah.
We watched it together.
We did. I almost forgot about that. But yeah, no, Zoo Tycoon, also a great game as a kid to play. I think a good like way of kind of also teaching you like essentially how zoos and places like that work, where it's like, okay, you want to get money from your customers and you got to make sure you responsibly take care of the animals, and how do you do, well, a very simplistic game version of how do you do a breeding program, and how do you make the animals happy in the right environment they want to be in, in their exhibits and all that jazz. And like I think it's a good thing for like, especially if you're younger, to learn about that sort of stuff, because also in a way it's kind of like a weird form of like responsibility, and also learning like how places like this and businesses like this make money, and how you want to also make it a comfortable experience for your guests as well, where they have the food stalls and the bathroom and seating areas and all that jazz. And of course, as a kid, though, I like to cause chaos, so, sometimes you just want to delete the cages of the animals and then just have them go run around mauling people. Simulation stuff, love it. Because basically this is like a simulation type game, but like, there's more like, what's the term? I think there's more like barriers to it, so it can't get too out of control. But yeah, you can also literally breed dinosaurs. Dinosaurs exist and are alive in this game. And you can also have blue whales floating around and existing, which I don't know how that's fucking possible. Not in real life, but in a video game, you could definitely do that. But it's just like, it creates a lot of scenarios that also just would be hard to do in real life too as well. So that's kind of fun to see that, explore that, and learn about these animals too. Like, I loved learning about a bunch of wild animals, and this was a great way to learn about that. Because I think they gave some pretty decent information in regards to, about all these different types of wild animals. I probably wouldn't know as much probably without a game like this too as well. And also the, 20-something plus books about animals like this just in general, that I had as a kid. At some point, I think I got rid of them and stuff like that. But yeah, no, these were great. Or like probably the most, when I was really younger, under the age of 10, probably the most played CD-ROM game I did have, I would say, is probably Zoo Tycoon. And a little bit of Zoo Tycoon 2, but I don't think I played it as much as the original one. But yeah. So nice. Yeah. I think that's what I got to say. And yeah, I know an actual Microsoft game that I like that somehow wasn't Xbox branded, which I find kind of funny. But Microsoft consistently is still, like, even though there's Steam and stuff like that, like Microsoft, a lot of games run on Windows still. So like Microsoft is still a huge influence on like PC gaming and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
Woohoo.
That's about it. All right, Sammy, what about you?
What do we have next, Sammy?
So I think if you're of a certain age, and I think we're all of that age, you remember that there were we had computer lab in school.
Right.
Yes.
And especially in elementary school.
Yes.
And it was to teach you certain things. And one of the things they teach you, especially in like super early computer lab, is typing. And I think everybody remembers the typing game they had that taught them typing. Mine was SpongeBob typing. Made by the Learning Company in 2005.
Oh man.
This was my typing game. This is how, it teaches you where to put your hands, how to type letters.
That's way more fun than the one I played.
What one did you play?
Was it Mavis Beacon?
Oh, you got the boring one.
I don't remember a typing game, too, for my school. I think they literally just had, like, worksheets that we had to do.
Boring.
That's boring.
Wait, you had worksheets to teach you how to type on a keyboard?
I forget, man. But honestly, I don't type like that on computer anyways. I try, but I
don't
can't.
either, but at the very least, it teaches you where the letters are. And
that's true.
That's a good skill to have as a child.
True. Mm-hmm. Not that I remember it every time.
No, it does. It does help me type without, you eventually get your own method of doing it. But yeah, we had SpongeBob typing. It was really fun. There were a bunch of little games. Like there was like a driving game. There was essentially it was like, there was just a typing game where you're like, it's weird and you're just SpongeBob typing on a keyboard. There was one with Gary that you're like traveling through Gary. There was one, what was the weird one? Oh, there's one where you're just what are the like it was essentially a rhythm game, but it was with
Ooh.
songs and with like finding letters on the keyboard.
That's very fun.
And I just think it was really fun. And
That's
you know,
so much
it makes,
more fun than how I learned typing.
it's more fun than Mavis Beacon.
way more fun.
Well, SpongeBob was here for me. It was a good time, and it's what I remember vividly about Computer Lab was that, and like Math Blaster, which taught me math.
Oh yes, I did play that one. Yes.
And then Money Town, which also tried to teach me math, but also economics.
Right.
And there were more, and I'm forgetting all of. Oh, Carmen San Diego. That was also a fun one. Computer Lab, man, that was a good time.
Computer
and then
Lab
also just
is
teaching
like
you how to
first
make a
grader.
PowerPoint.
So fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give
Nice.
kids Computer Lab anymore. They probably should, though.
I was like,
No,
yeah,
like there's
they
been a
definitely
huge thing of like
should.
how a lot of kids don't know how to honestly use a
kids don't-
computer.
They don't.
No, they don't.
anymore.
Well, that's a
because they never-
problem.
Because the only reason we do is that we were taught how to do it, and now people just assume the kids know how to do it on
No, they
some
know how to use
instinctual
apps.
primal
They don't know how to
Yeah.
use computer
Well, yeah, because
typing.
none of this is instinctual or primal. Like,
No.
you don't learn how to use a computer through osmosis. You have to get taught it. And we're one of the few people that did, because people before us didn't get Computer Lab because you didn't have a computer as a child.
Although because
People
of all
after
the
us just
issues with
assumed
kids not knowing how to
everybody.
use computers going to the workforce, they might try to bring it back again for all we
They
know.
might,
but
you know, I do think it is important for children to know how to do things.
at bare
on a
minimum,
computer.
so that they can actually function in a job doing simple tasks, because a lot of jobs require computers still, you know.
And also, not to add to the corporate capitalist machine, but also
know.
just for life.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
it is
I mean,
important
it's just
know how
helpful to
use
have a computer
in
too
your
at
own
home, even a personal one you don't use too much, mainly just to make job resumes and be able to do job interviews
I
on
mean,
a
you
computer.
can do a job resume on an. That's the least of your problems. You
Yeah,
can,
but,
there's
I
so
mean-
many ways to make a job resume. I'm talking like generally in your own life, it's probably better just to have a computer. I don't believe in the capitalist machine, Maria. Me and
I
Taylor are
mean,
very anti the capitalist
I
machine.
don't either, but at the same time, I also, most of my hobbies that I like and have gone over through all the years kind of are the result of capitalism. So, like, at the same
And
time.
that is also good and bad.
Yeah. So,
We
like,
all
I can't,
accept
it's one of
that.
those things that I will never be able to completely hate, because a lot of my interests are kind of like, you know, as a result of that. So
I'll
I can't
be a
fully
hypocrite,
hate
I
it,
don't
but,
care.
you know, I
Caleb,
can't fully
moving
hate
on.
it, but it has its issues. So, I'll say that.
All right. I don't know how to lead into my next one.
I
so
mean,
we're
just
gonna
go right in for
Go
it
for
then.
it.
So my number 8 is Plants vs Zombies.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
Cute.
2009 game by PopCap. It's a
I've heard of
tower
that one.
defense. I love this game so much. It's so stupid. But it's so simple to play, and it's so fun to just like plant a whole lawn full of plants and watch them kill zombies. And it's like
I mean, yes.
it's such
that's
a simple
cute.
concept, but like it's like actually like very fun and challenging to play. I don't know, something about it. It like I really like the art style of the plants. I think the plants are super cool. The zombies are more funny than they are anything else because they have this big zomboss, and he's kind of a joke, but also just trying to kill all your plants, and that's not very nice.
That's very
And
mean.
you've got this like hillbilly neighbor who sells you stuff like upgrades for your plants, and that's
Huh.
also fun. I think his name is Crazy Dave or something like that. He wears he's like a conspiracy theorist who like wears a pot on his head
Of course.
Obviously.
during the zombie apocalypse, clearly. But it's I don't know, it's fun. It's just a fun game. I will like pick this up and play it like all the time, just like a couple levels for fun. I just find it really enjoyable. Very simple concept, but like it holds up after however many years it's been since it's been out. It's very good.
God.
Very fun.
Yeah, I never played it, but I always I feel like I've seen it here and there on the internet. But I mean, I think it's just a funny idea. It's like it's an interesting way to do a more PG version of like a zombie video game, though.
Yes, definitely.
Because like it's not, you know, it's anamorphic plants coming up and
like,
fighting
the
a zombie.
zombies are like funny. It's like one of them's like an old man who reads a newspaper, and if you ruin his newspaper, he gets angry and he moves faster. And then some of them play the piano, and then some of them have like football outfits on, and they're like linebackers. I don't know. It's just really like the way that they also create the zombies and different versions of them is also just I think really fun.
Yeah,
as well.
it's interesting too because it sounds like they have a little bit more intelligence than you would think for like a regular zombie that you've seen depicted. So it's like, it makes them a little bit more interesting. There's a little bit more personality there. Besides, I'm hungry. I want to eat living flesh kind of deal.
It just has a lot of. I feel like for a game that's so simple, it has like a lot of fun and life in it. I've also played the Plants vs Zombies 2, which is a app, like phone app. That game's also pretty good. It just has a lot of microtransaction elements to it I don't love. So.
Yeah,
but
microtransactions.
Most phone apps.
Yeah. So, but that game is still. It has the same heart as like the original Plants vs Zombies.
That's what's important.
It's still very fun to play, and there's a lot of new plants that are really fun, and they do a lot of cool things with like different environments and how that affects like the game and everything. So that game is also still very fun. There's something about the original that I really enjoy though.
Oh.
All right, Maria.
All right, my turn.
Your next game.
Number 8. All right, there we go.
Ooh, nice,
obligatory
nice.
Pokemon.
Nice.
But specifically obligatory for the Nintendo DS because also there is a old school home video of me freaking out on Christmas Day when I got my goddamn Nintendo DS.
Aww.
So you know what? Slay. Probably the most excited I've ever been for a gift as a child. I will say that. So I was very happy. I still have it. It's a very nice, lovely little pink Nintendo DS Lite. The last time I checked, it still works. Love
I
it.
had the pink Nintendo DS Lite as well.
Yeah, but I wanted to highlight at least one Pokemon game iteration, and this one is specifically Diamond and Pearl. I did own both, even though they're basically the same game, but of course, it's the legendary Pokemon that's different.
Legendaries, yeah.
Of course, because you gotta have both if that's the case. So thanks, Game Freak, for this one.
Numbers.
And also, sales numbers.
Gotta get them. I mean, to quote Jackie Y, capitalism, 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 capitalism. You know, gotta love Jackie Y for these situations. Anyways, yeah, I mean, this is the Pokemon game I also played the most ever, personally. So this is like my definitive Pokemon game I ever played. I think I at like a friend's house I played like one of the Game Boy Pokemon games one time, but like for the most part, it's just been like this is the one that I know of that's like the base one is Nintendo DS, Diamond and Pearl. Had a great time. I forget which one I played more of though. To be honest with you, there was definitely one I played exponentially more because, surprise, surprise, it's literally the same game. But
it's probably whichever one you put in first.
Yeah, I forget which one that was. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. It's been a hot minute. I'll have to go back, find the cartridge, and like check the save file and see what I have. But I played. I don't know if I ever completed it, but I played really, really far into the game. Mm-hmm. So like I'm like, yeah, this is. If you ever find this and you ever find a DS, I definitely recommend playing them. Or I don't know if they brought them onto the Switch yet. How many Pokemon games they brought onto the Switch? Probably not.
They remade Diamond and Pearl.
Oh, sick!
So it's Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and those came out like 2 years ago or something like that. So it's not the original. They're like.
Is that the one with the motorcycle cars? No, that's Scarlet and Violet, right?
That's Scarlet. That's a new game. Yeah, Diamond and Pearl was specifically a remake of these two games that came out.
Okay. Yeah, because also, it's like the earlier version of the old school Pokemon setup where it's more like 8-bit or like whatever bit it is, and it's like, that's like very nostalgic for me. So yeah, I mean, this is easily, if you ever find the DS version of this, highly recommend you playing it, because it's great.
You've been playing Pokemon longer than I have, by like quite a lot.
Really? But no, this is... Yeah. But this is really the only Pokemon game I really played. Like, I have, was it Axorus? I played a little bit of that, but I haven't... Yeah, Arisarcius, however the fuck you say it. I butchering names, what's new? But I only played a little bit into that, so, like, I don't want to say I'm an expert, because those are, like, this is, like, really the only Pokemon game that I've, like, really played. The other ones I have not as much, so, so to be fair, I'm not, like, a Pokemon expert, but, like, this is my Pokemon game, basically.
This is yours.
This is mine. I mean, some are good at playing almost all of them, or as many as I can get. That's not me. But, like, hey, Nintendo did a good job, and Pokemon Company did a good job, too, with, I think, the earlier part of these games. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really...
solid game, Diamond and Pearl.
Can't really say about the more recent ones, because those... Yeah.
A lot of people got problems with the more recent ones. I don't.
Mainly Scarlet. Mainly Scarlet and Violet. I don't have rip the Band-Aid off,
but problems that people have with the recent ones, but it's whatever.
Yeah, it's mainly the most of the complaints I've heard is about Scarlet and Violet. Like the other more recent ones, like what the fuck you say it?
RCS.
That one I hear is good. That, if anything, that's the more highly rated recent one I've heard about.
That is,
but-
if I had to pick a favorite Pokemon game, it would be Legends Arceus for me. They just did so many different stuff with that made it so much more enjoyable than a regular Pokemon game.
Yeah, that
really
I
cool
feel like
idea.
is the default really good 3D model version of the Pokemon games that I like, but that's just my biased opinion. But yeah, definitive Pokemon game for me. Diamond and Pearl. Boom. All
Nice.
right, next one. Sammy.
For
All
me.
right, what is it?
All right, this one is just a classic.
Okay.
You've all played this. I
Uh-huh.
know you've all played this.
All right.
It's Club Penguin, bitches.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
Love Club Penguin so much.
Actually, I don't
good.
think I ever did play Club Penguin. I'm the
I
odd one
love-
out.
Oh my
you know?
god, I
Wow.
loved Club Penguin.
Club Penguin was a moment
Oh, I
for
loved
the
it
people.
so much.
From 2005 to 2017 when we all had,
They all log
goodbye
back on to
parties,
say
so-
goodbye to Club Penguin.
Everyone logs back on to say goodbye. Those poor little penguins just adrift in the ocean.
It's so sad that they shut it down. Like,
It
I'm actually
was.
so sad about that.
It is. It's so depressing.
Because
And then-
because Webkins still exist, like, now.
Webkins
like, if
still
Club
exists and you can
Penguin
play
still
it for free.
existed, I would go back and play it. Like, it
Oh,
was so
absolutely.
fun.
Absolutely, it's like the era of like that, Webkins, Neopets.
Yes, yes.
All
Oh
this,
yeah, the
like,
fun
I played
online
all
kid
those-
games.
I
those
played
are
all
child
of
great.
those.
social networking.
Yes.
That very much limited you to what you
MMOs
could
for
even say.
children.
MMOs
Oh,
for
yeah.
children, baby.
Love me an MMO for
Penguins.
kids.
You had
Love
the
Penguin.
Puffins or the
Oh,
Puffles.
I love the Puffles.
Oh, yeah.
I love
The
them.
Puffles were so cute.
I love them.
You had all the fun games, the dances, the little pizza game that I had a lot of fun with.
I loved that pizza game.
The pizza game was so fun. Ugh. And then if you were rich, you could pay, and then everyone hated you
Yes,
because you
yes.
were rich. I never paid for it, but damn.
I was gifted
hell
a
gets a
1 month
subscription?
I was gifted a 1-month membership card
Oh,
once,
that's
and
nice.
that's
Yeah.
I had that
That's
for a hot
nice.
second, and that was it.
And then you lose it.
And then you
because,
lost.
like-
Then I lost it. Yeah,
because
because I wasn't gonna keep paying for it.
Yeah, because it was like a subscription.
As a child, I
Yeah,
wasn't
what
gonna do
parent's
that.
gonna, unless they're wealthy, no parent's gonna
Yeah.
really
Wealthy
continuously
children
pay for
got it.
Well, that's the thing,
Wealthy
unless you're
children had
wealthy, they're not gonna continuously pay for a subscription.
Right.
No, like,
Very funny though.
yeah.
Such good memories.
I
man.
love doing like the secret agent Club Penguin
Oh,
stuff.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love that so,
So
much.
good.
I've played both of the like Nintendo DS games that came out that were
Yeah.
specifically about that too. Like I loved that.
But I also love that everyone was so worried about the fact that it's a children's MMO, and I'm like, no one was having conversations on Club Penguin.
no,
You can't with strangers or with friends.
Club Penguin
you cannot
was
have a
space-
conversation on
It was
Club
a
Penguin.
safe space.
It was a very
Which is
safe
good.
space. You
But I
were
understand
you
the
were
concern,
shouting
especially-
into the void.
Especially now
You
with
were-
situations like on
Well, here's
Roblox
the thing,
and stuff, you have to
can't
worry about
type in
stranger
Club
danger.
Penguin. They were entirely. There was so.
And that's
limited
probably
in
what
you
saved their
could
asses,
say.
honestly. Thank God.
Yeah, and
You
also
can
that
say
everything about this was
pre-programmed phrases.
Free
Yeah.
program phrases,
Yeah.
and also you were shouting into the void because
Yes.
no one was interacting with people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there is not one single child that was personally victimized by Club Penguin.
Right.
By
It was
other
fun.
children.
It was so
It was
fun.
mainly,
Oh my
you know,
God.
it was such a good
I
site.
love that game so much.
I love
was
it so
good.
much. I
I'm
miss
so
it so
sad.
much.
It's just like wiped from the internet.
My penguin.
I wouldn't be
Only
surprised though
ever
if someone's
Penguin.
attempting to keep like a weird separate server of it alive, but I don't know what that is.
I mean, I do
located.
think a lot of that is also just preservation of,
Yeah.
like, the thing as an entity, or else it becomes fully lost media, because who thought about preserving Club Penguin?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
before
kind of
that.
now that you mention it, it's a really interesting on a side tangent topic though about lost media and like game preservation and all that jazz, especially with people moving from physical things to digital things. Because the same thing's also a situation now with like TV shows and movies that are streaming only. How do you preserve these if like places could just easily get rid of and pull
Piracy.
these games away unless you literally make like
Piracy.
unless you literally pirate it or like do an internet
answer-
archive and
that's what
save
I'm
these
saying.
games on a
The
separate
answer-
server.
The answer is piracy.
Yeah.
We've come up
No,
with a
yeah, but
solution.
but
We came
it's
up with
been
a solution
an
decades
interesting
ago. The
discussion
answer's
point
piracy.
though. It's been an interesting discussion point though. I've seen, especially the gamer space, when it comes to that sort of stuff. So like, it just reminds me of that too, because it's like you see with consoles, they're moving more to digital only systems now. They're trying to push for that, Like I mean, granted, Steam does that too, but Valve at the moment still is in good graces with a lot of people, with allowing people to still keep their games, and because they're biased towards Linux-based stuff. Linux allows for a lot of like emulation and stuff to occur with video games and all that jazz. So like more consumer-friendly stuff like that, but still, there's still the risk of like things disappearing from the internet forever or becoming future lost media. So it's a very interesting conversation. I feel like Club Penguin unfortunately has been a part of that because of the fact now it's been deleted off the internet, basically, or the official one has been. Who knows? No, most likely I wouldn't be surprised if there's some revamped server of this existing somewhere, but I don't know where. I wouldn't be surprised though if people have done that for Club Penguin. But yeah.
Kayla?
Alright, my next game, a very recent game, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
So this came out, it's a Nintendo game that came out last year. It's an open world action adventure. So I feel like it could be a little bit controversial in the way that I feel like a lot of people think Breath of the Wild is the better game because
a lot of people do. Yeah.
A lot of people
Many
felt
people do.
Tears of the Kingdom was just a DLC on top of Breath of the Wild, and that's true in a way, but I also feel that it's the added elements of Tears of the Kingdom that I think make it a better game. It added so much and also they did so much to the map to make it feel like you're clearly on top of the same map that Breath of the Wild was in, but it felt so different. Like, I didn't feel like I was going along the same, like, oh, yeah, this is exactly where I was in Breath of the Wild. It's like they really did so much to change it that it felt like it was a completely different map, even though it was built on top of the same template as Breath of the Wild, and I really love that. There's an entirely, essentially, extra map and a half added to it as well.
Oh,
with
nice.
Like, the Underdark. Like, that's the entire map just underground, and that was completely new, and then there's the whole Sky Island elements to it as well, and I just feel like it was the first game but with just so much more added elements, and I really, really enjoyed it. And all of the abilities, like the weird arm abilities, were essentially the abilities from the first game but just better now. And I think a lot of people probably think Breath of the Wild, it's like, I guess it's kind of your opinion on it, because if you think Breath of the Wild is better, it's probably because you think it was the original, and this kind of feels like a cheap knockoff on it, where I see it like this was an improvement upon the first game. And to follow up Breath of the Wild, I think was going to be a really, really hard thing to do in the first game, because that was like revolutionary for the Zelda franchise to begin with. And I really felt like Tears of the Kingdom really holds up very well as a sequel. It felt like all of the same elements of the first game are there, and the things that they added just made the game even better. I have way more hours of this game than I did of Breath of the Wild. I have still to this day not finished either Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, because I just waste so much time in that game running around and doing absolutely nothing to progress the storyline. But that's kind of what I do with open world games like that. It's like I just have fun like being there and doing like random side quests and other types of random shit. I just like enjoy being in like the open world environment and like wasting time on other stupid stuff, but that's part of the fun of it for me.
Yeah, open world is fun if it's done well and not super repetitive, you know? So it's funny with Breath of the Wild, I still was just stuck getting past the first level of that game.
Oh, the Great Plateau.
Yeah, because I was so stuck on it and I could never figure out how to get past it, so I gave up. Because I was just like, how the do I get past this level? I give up. But like, I've heard good things about Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't heard as much hype as compared to Breath of the Wild, but it makes sense because Breath of the Wild was like probably one of the first games they launched on the Switch too, and the Switch itself, of course, was a huge launch.
I think it was a launch title for the Switch. Yeah.
So like that obviously led to its huge like impact initially, especially with it.
They're so different than any other Legend of Zelda game that had come before it too, because they were not nearly
because Legend of Zelda's not really
on the scale like this before.
Yeah, like Legend of Zelda beforehand also wasn't known for like open world games. You know, they were like more 8-bit style games and stuff like that.
I would be very curious if the next Zelda game keeps this open world style or not, or if it goes back to a more traditional Zelda, because I know a lot of people want them to do that. They don't want the open world anymore because that's not why they like the Legend of Zelda franchise. The Legend of Zelda is not really a franchise I grew up playing a lot. Breath of the Wild was my jumping in point to that series as a whole.
Yeah, same.
Because it was open world, and so if they were to release, like, and they go back to the original style of Zelda, it probably wouldn't be for me, because I've tried playing those games in the past, and they're just not the type of thing I like. I wouldn't be mad at them for doing that, but I would love if they just eventually did another open world game like this, because I really like this format. I think it's super, super fun, and they both this and Breath of the Wild are just, like, incredibly made games as well.
Yeah, I mean,
it was,
they are, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I also just say that this is the only Switch game that costs $70 as well.
Still, yeah.
But I do really feel like that's warranted for the scale that this game was. It really felt like there was so much content in there that felt like it didn't bother me that much because the game has so much in it to begin with.
No, that makes sense to me. Like, it's also, like, Zelda and, like, everything Mario branded are, like, the most popular franchises, I would say, at this point, connected to Nintendo, as Nintendo exclusives. So, like, it's not shocking that it has a high price point like that. But also, like, in terms of those who like the older style Zelda, literally at the Nintendo Direct, they did announce that new Legend of Zelda game where you're gonna be playing as, literally as Zelda.
Yeah.
So, like, that is more, it's a more updated 3D, ish, well, not completely 3D, but it's a more, like, 3D built out older style of an older Legend of Zelda game, but with, different mechanics and stuff like that, and a new twist on it, because you're actually playing a Zelda. Shocker.
That's got like a new, like, fun little, like, mechanic to it as well, because you're playing as Zelda. It's so that seems like it's also pretty different, where it's like, and there's combat in it, but it's like the item cloning, like puzzle solving, feels like more
which
of
I think is actually a pretty cool, unique twist for it. Yeah,
I'm
give her something
excited
different.
for it. I think it looks really cool. So
yeah, the only other experience I have with anything Zelda related is the Hyrule Warriors game. I've only just started playing that.
Yeah.
I only just started playing that, and it's fun so far. I know it's more Musou based and based off of like the OG Musou, like Dynasty Warriors. I think it's actually part of the Dynasty Warrior brand. But yeah.
So I've played multiple like games in the warrior style, because there's Hyrule Warriors and there's also Fire Emblem Warriors. Yeah. And the play style of those games is definitely very different than the games they're based off of, but I will say the storytelling in the Warriors game, so good. I don't know what it is about that, but they do a really, really good job with storytelling in the Warriors games. So Hyrule Warriors is like one of the first times I've ever been really invested into like the Zelda lore, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I need to still play more, because I just, I still need to advance more further in. But so far, so fun. And also, it's just I think it's a very easy, like, combat thing to pick up on, too. Like, gameplay-wise. Like, it's very easy to catch on and play. I mean, your thumb might be a little bit tired playing a couple rounds, like a round or two of it, most likely, because you're doing a lot of button mashing, not gonna lie. Because, the idea is, like, you're on a battlefield and you're constantly fighting people and trying to do other objectives. So, like, yeah. But... it's still a fun game. It's a fun, so far an easy pick off kind of game. But anyways, Tears of the Kingdom, at some point I will probably play this. Don't know when, but it's one of those that it's in the backlog, to look out for eventually.
It's a good game. A really easy game to like pick up for a little bit and then like only play like a little bit at a time, just because there's so much there.
This feels like a game I would absolutely fucking hate.
You would, yeah.
Probably.
You would probably
fucking hate.
You would go in and like not understand what to do, because the game also gives you very little direction. No direction.
Sammy,
and also I would immediately be like, why?
Yeah.
What is its purpose?
When the game immediately just, you're in there and the prompt is rescue Zelda, and it doesn't change until you beat the game. Like, that's the prompt for the whole game.
That's the one prompt, and you can do whatever you want.
I mean, that's like every Legend of Zelda game, isn't it? Like, save Zelda somehow.
Also life.
Breath of the Wild, it's defeat Ganon, and that gives you that at the beginning of the game, and it doesn't go away until the end of the game.
Yeah, so basically, you got one thing to do, but there's no structure.
No structure.
I need structure.
Absolutely zero structure.
Well, that's not the case with every single... Like, a lot of open world games, I think, have more structure than Zelda. Zelda's one of the few open world games I think they literally don't tell you what to do much. You have to literally figure it out on your own. So, like, yeah, if you want to play open world games, Sammy, definitely one with more structure, I think you would prefer.
No, I would. Yeah. I think I would just hate open world games, period.
You wouldn't. You would
like,
not enjoy
what
them.
What is happening?
Yeah.
I don't like it here. I want to go home.
You need an open world game with more structure and guidance.
No, I think
is what
I don't even think with structure I would enjoy just wandering.
I feel like
that's the other benefit of open world games. You can just wander, and
that's
I think I would
hate the point of an open world game is to provide a lot of structure.
It's to provide structure.
At that point, it's not an open world game anymore.
No, it'd be more linear, like God of War. Then at that point,
people would hate it, and then I would be like, okay, this has structure. I like it here. Right. I want the worst open world game imaginable.
Right.
Where they just shackle you.
Fair enough.
All right.
Maria, what is your next?
Here. All right, number 7 is some Mario games.
Mario
Because honestly, I couldn't figure out how to rank these guys, but I figured let's talk about the ones that are the most important to me. So the ones that were most influential to me as a child that I played the most, couple Mario Kart games, specifically the one for the DS, Shocker, and Double Dash on the GameCube, and then of course 2 other GameCube classics, Mario Party 7 for me, which really pushed me to want to get a GameCube in the first place, and then the one, the only, the iconic Super Smash Bros. Melee. The best Super Smash Bros. Game, period, in my humble opinion. Come at me. They're just, I mean, these are like, for me, well, I don't know so much about the DS one, but I played a lot, so I counted. But the rest of them for me are like the definitive Mario games in my mind that I just love to go back and play to. Mario Party 7, of course, so much fun to play with friends when you were younger. And just an easy, like, party game. But shocker, it's in the name. An easy party game to play. And it also introduced me to the wide variety of other Mario characters, so that's how I knew all of them, was literally because of Mario Party 7, so I appreciate that. A Mario Kart, I mean, any iteration of Mario Kart is a classic. Of course, it's still the one that's, like, Mario Kart 8, which is, like, what, how many years old now? And they're still selling that and doing bundles of that game. It has longevity, but, now, Double Dash, I remember getting that for cheap at GameStop, too, as a kid. Like, used. And it's what I know if it still works, and it's a great interactory system to a lot of the classic, it's probably the very first racing game I ever played, too. They're just good at that. And then, of course, Super Smash Bros. Melee. I mean, the very first, like, I would say, 1v4 or 1v2 or whatever beat 'em up that I played, and it's the best, mainly because there ain't no fucking microtransactions. Fuck yeah! And you have a wide variety of Nintendo characters, and that's and also how I got introduced to a bunch of other Nintendo characters, like Kirby and Samus and, the weird Iglo kids, and, other franchises that I've never really played because they haven't really made newer iterations of those games, but these were more well-known in the past. But that's how I know of them. It's literally because of Melee, so I appreciate Melee for that little bit of gaming history and fighting people and all that jazz. And Melee is probably where I first knew about Legend of Zelda characters, too. So, thank you for that. But yeah. I mean, these are like the definitive Mario games for me, the ones that like, childhood foundational.
Solid,
and,
solid group of Mario games.
Yeah, solid group to play as a kid, honestly. And like, I mean, I definitely, yeah, I don't know, like, which one I would say is better than the other, but I mean, I like them all for different reasons. They all fit a niche. They're all fun. Mm-hmm. I highly recommend playing them if you ever get the chance to. You might have to play it on an older system, or if it's somehow been ported to the Switch. I haven't kept track which ones have been ported to the Switch or not, but I don't think any of the Kart ones have. I doubt it, because there's 8, so, and 8, of course, is all-consuming, and, Melee, I don't know, but some people, I think Melee's the one that's pirated a lot, if anything, and, like, they still have in-person Super Smash Bros. Melee events. Like, I think they did in my college space, where, like, in the common room in, like, the freshman dorm, one of the freshman dorms, in the little connecting space, they would just hook up a bunch of TVs and a bunch of guys would play, like, Melee and stuff like that on certain nights of the week, so it was always funny to see that. I never played in those, but it was just funny to see in person. And then, Mario Party 7, very fun party game to play as a kid. And also with other people, too, as well, if you have some adults that want to play as well. It's just fun. It's just so much fun. All great. All fun.
Nice.
Mine was a scam that we all fell for.
Of course.
All right.
Webkins.
Yeah,
Webkins
course.
was a fucking
course.
scam.
It was a huge scam.
Was a scam.
Yeah, let's not
Webkins
kid
was a
ourselves.
scam.
Yeah.
Huge scam.
Because
Did I own
remember,
like 30 of them? Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
because
I had
here's
like
the
at least 5 or 6.
They
Probably.
were ugly. They're so
They're
ugly.
ugly.
Those like
Mhm.
raggedy,
They were
like
ugly.
worst plushie.
It's like they made them ugly on
imaginable.
purpose, almost. Webkins.
They almost.
Honestly.
I think it was. I think it was to add insult to injury, because
Yeah.
you had to buy a webkin that would then give you a year's subscription to the site. But why did I have like 10 of them?
Okay,
Right.
question though. Did you buy them at Limited too? Because that's where I got all mine.
That's where I bought all of
I
mine.
got a lot of mine at like Thrifty Florist for some reason. There was
Nice.
a
They
flower
were also
store
at very
also. They were there.
random. It was at
At like
it was,
also at
limited
like
to
Hallmark.
and like random small businesses.
Yeah.
And Hallmark stores. It was
Literally.
like random stores that they had them in.
Oh yeah,
They were so ugly.
it's like Beanie
but it
Babies. I
gave
think
you
I think they kind of treat these
No,
almost like
Beanie Babies are a normal looking plushie. Those things had like weird hair yarn situation
Yeah,
that was
I don't
like
know what the hell
not
that
nice
design
to
was.
look at or to
I had a
they
handful
felt
that were
terrible.
I had a handful that were cute, but a vast majority of them were ugly. And I also
So
owned
ugly.
way too many.
Why did we? Because you only needed one.
Right, but like when
only
you got a
needed
new
one a
one,
year.
you wanted it because they came with special furniture. It was a
Because
scam.
it came with special furniture. And then you could
and you
go
got to put
in
a new
and-
room in your house because
You
you got a
did.
new
And
one.
then you could just have a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I remember I had this, like, little pink poodle, and she was my, like, first one, and she was great, and I loved her. But, holy shit, was it a scam.
It was a huge scam.
Because,
but
like, you would go in, and
I
then
loved
and then
them.
there was the other thing of, like, anything you could do on webkins.com, you could do,
Yes.
like, one a day. Because
Yes,
you could only do,
yes.
like, the college classes once a day.
Right.
And then you could only do, like, the wishing well once a day. So you just had to keep going back in.
My mom also played Webkins. Like, she also thoroughly enjoys.
She was also in.
Now that's
Webkins.
interesting.
And I
Well, here's the
I told
it's
her
a
recently that
weirdly,
the
like,
website
calm
still
game.
exists, and she went back and she made an account and she plays
Ah.
it now sometimes.
Oh my god,
I mean,
that is
it's
funny.
like fully free now, which is
Yeah.
what it always should have been.
Right.
But like, holy shit, was it like a weird little game that
It
we
was-
all somehow got scammed
We
with?
got scammed into, but it was so good.
It was a moment in time.
It was kind of iconic because of that.
A little bit. That and like Neopets.
Yes.
Just like your little pet and like Nintendogs. Your like little
love
pet
Nintendogs so
that
much.
everyone just like
Yeah.
had to raise.
Yes.
Like an
Great.
updated version of a Tamagotchi.
Oh,
Is a
it kinda
Tamagotchi a
was.
video game?
I'd probably. I
I
don't know
think
what.
so.
I don't think there's any other way you could classify it other than a
A
video
Tamagotchi?
game.
Yeah. A Tamagotchi is also a video game.
Yeah.
Huh. Digital pets, man.
Look at that. Mm-hmm.
Look at our digital pets.
digital
I miss
pet
them.
era.
I know, and I abandoned
They're
them.
lost
My
in
little
the
favorite
ether.
elephant
I know.
Webkins, I abandoned her.
My little pink poodle gone.
Just gone.
The other thing is I don't think I played it long enough for me to have lost the Webkins I had originally gotten. So I don't remember. Did they just like disappear from your house after the year was
No,
up?
you kept them. It was
You
just
kept them, right?
And like I
Yeah.
think if your account expired, they would probably just wait there for you, is what I would assume happened.
They do.
Yeah.
So
Most
sad.
likely.
Very cute though.
So cute.
I miss-
Love them so
ugh.
much.
Such an era. This is a calmer era of gaming.
Yes. All right, so my number 6 game, Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
I'm not
So-
surprised at
Of course it
all.
is.
I am not surprised at all.
20 released in
Least surprising
2019.
entry ever from you.
Tactical RPG. So, what I have since realized is because this is the first Fire Emblem game I played, because
Mhm.
honestly, because Dan recommended that I play the game, and so
Oh,
I
Dan.
did, and I love it so much because the thing is that Fire Emblem games. So I've learned this since playing, notoriously known for having bad storytelling and bad characters.
Huh.
And this is the one game where they like really got their shit together and wrote like a very good storyline with like very, very good characters.
Hence why it's the most popular one.
And there's a reason
Probably.
they mooch off the franchise as much because it is the best story they've ever written in Fire
Yeah.
Emblem.
Nice.
Like, I played the new Fire Emblem game that came out last year. That game was bad. I hated that game. It was
From
not
what
good.
I heard, though, I heard the gameplay was good for that, but the
Yeah.
story wasn't
That's
as
what
good.
it- that's the
what
thing.
I was told.
The gameplay for that's fine, but I'm so like story character driven
Of
when I
course,
play
yeah.
video games that like the
Yeah.
gameplay can be good, but if the story is bad, like there's only so much that can do for my enjoyment of a game.
Yeah.
So I've played through this game 4 whole times because I wanted to see each of the actual like 4 storylines that it had to offer. I do not regret it at all. The Blue Lion.
Wait,
House
what's
will be
it's
my
a 4
favorite.
storyline a spoiler?
So one of them, so the Edelgard one, I don't remember what they're called. Her storyline splits in half, at the like splitting point of the
Oh.
game. So
Okay.
there are 3, and then that one splits in 2. So you technically only have to play the game 3.5 times because on that 4th one you can skip doing the first half of the game again.
Okay. All right.
there is
Interesting. Good to
4
know.
storylines
Okay.
to it.
That's why I'm kind of like, I only see 3, dude.
That 4th storyline is honestly kind of like discount version of one of the other storylines.
Oh, okay.
So there's like not a whole lot of new information there that you don't get in the other ones. I'd
Gotcha.
say it's worth playing all 3 of them to get like if you really care about the story and want to know the background and the lore. But I love the characters in this game so much. They really are a huge reason of why I love the game so much, even more so than the story. The characters are so endearing, and I feel like they have a lot of depth to them, way more so than they've done in any other game in the franchise, honestly. And then, so Fire Emblem Three Houses also has a Warriors spin-off game. I don't remember the title of it. I think
there's
it's
a couple
Three
of them.
Hopes.
I know there's a couple of them, yeah.
The one based on this game is Fire Emblem Three Hopes. That has also a phenomenal storyline with great storytelling, great character development.
Oh, I probably have to get that one too.
It's essentially like an alternate timeline to Three Houses, but they just do such a good job with the characters and the story in that game. It's way better than it has any right to be for being a spin-off game. And a Warriors game, but
again, the Warriors
really
games,
good.
they're cooking with these spin-off
They're cooking
versions.
with those.
They're cooking with them story-wise.
They're really good.
And apparently they were cooking with Fire Emblem Three Houses too, story-wise as well.
Oh, they were. They absolutely were. But it's just so good. I love this game so much. Definitely, I don't know if I will like a Fire Emblem game as much as this one ever.
Yeah,
again,
I basically started multiple versions of this, but I think it's more so I need to go a little bit further into the games.
Yes.
Because
So
the
the
problem
first-
is it's tactical RPG, which I'm not used to playing. So that's like where it's difficult. I played RPG games, but not so much tactical, and I think that's a little bit where the learning curve is.
Are you playing on? I would highly recommend casual mode for that, because the big.
Oh
thing
no,
with
I'm playing the beginner mode period
because
for that.
The big thing with the Fire Emblem games, if you play it on the regular mode, if one of your characters dies in battle, they're gone forever. Like, they're dead, and you can't use them again. And that's absolutely, because I'm here for the characters, that's absolutely not the way I play this game. So,
I mean, that's the way you play
that.
if you're really more into, obviously, the tactical side of things,
There's
so.
and I mean, that's what I think Fire Emblem is for, mostly, is it's for people who really like the gameplay style, the gameplay loop, and want it to be challenging. Which I also think is fun, but I am not here for that, like, entirely. Like, I am also here for characters and story, and that's a main reason why I play a lot of video games, so.
Yeah, this is, like, the only tactical RPG I've ever played, and probably, for now, will most likely only play, unless I decide to, for some reason, try a super discounted Engage, potentially, but it would have to be super discounted, because,
I really did not enjoy that game. I think it's real stupid. Like, the characters are really not endearing at all in that game, and the storyline I don't find to be interesting, and I think it's pretty poorly written. So I did not enjoy that game.
Yeah, that's fair. But again, it sounds like, if you were going to play that one, it would have been for the tactical RPG of it.
They do a lot of very interesting stuff with the combat in that game that I can see a lot of people liking. So if you want it for that, then it's a great game. But because I know there's a lot of people who play for just the gameplay and not the story and the characters. So.
Which, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of an important factor for most video games, is you kind of want to like the gameplay. So even if the story's good, if it's shit gameplay, that's not going to get you too far, you know? Mm-hmm. You might as well just watch a cutscene then, online. Right. Like, so. But no, So I started, like, playthroughs for each of these houses, basically, and with the male and girl characters.
So the thing you're gonna run into that is the first 12 chapters is exactly the same for all three of them. So
that makes sense. So
you have to. At that point, I think you have to pick one and just go all the way through with it instead of trying to do them all.
Yeah, maybe eventually if I want to be ambitious, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. And hopefully it'll make me better doing a tactical RPG, but
yes.
Yeah.
All right, Maria, what is your
Alright, number 6
game?
is... Okay. Don't judge me. This is probably the hot take one. It's Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Okay.
And here's why. Why. I know Assassin's Creed as a brand gets shit on, but let's be honest, it still sells big money. Let's not kid ourselves here. There's been a lot of people shitting on Shadows a little bit, but also there's a good amount of people that are very excited and will definitely buy the whatever $130 ridiculous priced out amount that they're doing, like, when it drops, which is ridiculous. Like, Ubisoft is starting to do that with all their games, so, like, if anything, I would complain more about that, because I think that's just ridiculous pricing, and most likely they're gonna pull the same bullshit for GTA 6, most likely. I'm calling it right now. They're gonna have some ridiculous $130 edition to play 5 days early with all these bonus bullshit. I wouldn't be surprised, but that's under Take-Two. But I wouldn't surprise, because, I understand questioning Ubisoft for certain microtransaction choices, but... And now some people may be second-guessing me going, girl, this is the RPG version, and so many people complain about Assassin's Creed going the more RPG route, but personally, And yeah, there may not be as much assassinating, considering this story takes place before the existence of the assassin, like, the assassins and the hidden ones. I haven't really, I did not do Origins for a reason, because I haven't advanced that far into the story to talk comfortably about Origins. But this game was actually nominated for Game of the Year at the main video game awards. And I think it was fair. I don't think it would have ever won out the games it was going up against. But I actually think it's a really solid entry of Assassin's Creed, mainly not so much for the assassination part, but for the fact that this is probably one of the best ways to really immerse yourself in an open world version of ancient Greece. Like, if you are totally into ancient Greece and all that shit, like, and like the Spartans and the Athenians and meeting, of course there's many fictionalized things, like they base a lot of it off of history, but let's be honest here, it's a fictional storyline, and like, bitch, I fought the Minotaur! And I need to work on my ass trying to fight Medusa at some point, because that's also a thing too in this game. But, bitch, I beat the Minotaur! Slay! I killed the Minotaur. That's more of a side quest, it's not the mainline story, but you can do that. I think it's just a really good version of, if you want to immerse yourself in a whole experience of living out your ancient Greek fantasy, this is probably the best game to do that. Like, period, out there. It is the best ancient Greece, like, open world simulator you want to do that with. And you can, like, there's a more canon compliant character that's a woman, in terms of the weird, broader storyline they're doing with Assassin's Creed, which, I don't know what's going on with that these days. It's, half the time, I swear it's an enigma. But, you can also play that or as the brother, and depending which one you choose, kind of affects the storyline based on who the bad guy is, spoiler, but, or one of the bad guys, should I say. But, like, yeah, it's the whole cult of Cosmos. You learn a lot about ancient Greece stuff. You learn about the Spartans. You learn about the Athenians. Like, I think it's a really cool simulator and a really cool way of reimagining what these buildings could have looked like in their heyday, And so it gave me such a much bigger appreciation, too, of, like, ancient Greece in general. Because, like, I learned about it in, like, middle school, as with a lot of other people do in the States, I feel like. It's, like, always ancient Greece and ancient Rome. They always, like, I feel like they hammer on at some point, either in high school or middle school. They'll always hammer those guys in. But it gave me a lot more appreciation, I think, playing it in video game format, because actually trying to experience it, and then kind of taking what you learned about those kind of settings and kind of seeing it play out through here, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. But yeah. So yeah, I think if you want to have the ultimate action RPG open world kind of ancient Greek fantasy, this is your game. And also, it's in my opinion, even though there is a main through storyline and a bunch of side quests, I think it's a very, easy game to pick up and put down over time. And yeah, it's very padded out, but I also think it has some of the more memorable, like, side quest lines, personally. And I think I would recommend it if you're open to the more, if you don't care as much about, or the lack of, like, you can jump from a high ground and assassinate someone from above, but there isn't, like, a hidden blade and stuff like that as much, so, like, you know what I mean. There isn't as much of that assassin-type gameplay, but it's still, like, a very fun action RPG to play, in my opinion.
I honestly know very little about the Assassin's Creed franchise of games to begin with.
But there's a reason they keep selling, like,
yeah,
they got fans, and it's cool to explore, like, these more, based off of history places, and I will be very curious to see how Shadows goes. Very, very curious to see how that one plays out.
I keep hearing stuff about that one.
Yeah, that one I'm very curious, mainly because they started work on that after a particular samurai game released 4 years prior got popular, which I may or may not talk about that one later, so that's why I'm not saying it right now.
I would be shocked if it wasn't here.
But it's kind of like one of those where it's like that one dropped and got popular. I think it finally kicked Ubisoft to be like, see, people actually want this, so like, we're stupid for not doing it, so let's fucking do it.
Right,
and the reason why I highlight this one is because the same studio working on Shadows worked on this game, so because of how much I like this game, I have better hopes for how Shadows might turn out, assuming the influence of the team that worked on Valhalla doesn't get to them, because Valhalla has, I think, over time had more mixed reviews, because the problem is part of it's a setting and how they built some of the side quests, really, and how like it's not terrible, it's not a terrible game, but it's not as fulfilling as they say like Origins and Odyssey were. But, yeah, I recommend Odyssey. It's a fun game. Yeah, in my opinion. It's actually a solid game. They keep doing discounts on Assassin's Creed games. Just wait till there's a decent discount to get it. or like do one of those bundles where you can get a bunch of them for a good discounted price, honestly. And my recommendation, even if Shadows ends up being good, or like the Star Wars Outlaws game that the Ubisoft's working on ends up being good, just wait for a little bit to get them. Get them at a discounted price. They do sales all the time in those games. No need to buy $130 fucking for a game or $70 at launch for these guys. Just wait till it's a discount. Trust me on it. You'll thank me later. Like, there's consistently selling, like, Valhalla, for example, like the base Valhalla game for like that's regularly $19. That goes on to discount so many times. Just wait till you get Assassin's Creed games on discount. Trust me, it's worth your money. There's all the games for that price too, but just wait till it gets on discount. Don't rush to get Ubisoft games at full game price. My personal opinion, especially with their stupid ass practices and microtransactions, pisses me off to no end. But they still somehow make decent games. But I just the fucking microtransactions and $130 for a fucking game of a deluxe edition for like one extra side quest and some other bullshit. It's a rant, but you know they're gonna start to pull out bullshit with every other major AAA release, so it's just annoying to me. But anyways, rant over. Next one.
See, all right, Sammy, what's your number 6?
Bejeweled, bitches.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, Bejeweled.
Fuck yeah, Bejeweled.
Another great equalizer.
The great equalizer of the.
It's just color matching.
Yeah,
and that's fun.
I mean, it's almost like Connect 4 almost.
It's
but
almost
like with more
like
colors.
Connect 4. It's a little bit like Candy Crush. It's just fun, man. It used to come on phones for free. It used to come on your phone. Now it doesn't as much, but like it's a good time.
I really enjoyed also playing Bejeweled in Plants vs. Zombies. They're made by the same company. I really also enjoy that. You can play
Bejeweled in other
games.
Is
funny.
It's a great time. I like Bejeweled.
I do too. I think it's a very
fun.
To have.
It's a very fun game that the format has been copied endlessly now.
Endlessly.
So I feel like that has to say something about it. It's just like a good quality fun game.
It's just something to just
it's
do
simple,
with your
but
hands.
It's nice, yeah.
Bejeweled is essentially the first fidget toy, man.
I mean, you're not wrong. In a way.
Is this not you don't need to think, you just need to swipe.
You're true. You're true.
It's true. Put some jewels. Put
some jewels in a line.
Put some jewels in a line, get some power-ups, and thrive.
Nice.
I don't know what else to say about Bejeweled.
It's Bejeweled.
It's a classic.
It's a classic. I mean, Candy Crush is like the second iteration of a Bejeweled-like game.
It's the
Candy
same
Crush
thing,
is the
but
knockoff
like
Bejeweled.
Yeah, let's be honest here.
Bejeweled
it's just with a different.
Fun.
It's the same type of gameplay with a different coding.
Exactly.
So, but Bejeweled did it first, man. Bejeweled did it first.
Yes. Bejeweled used to be on phones, like
I know.
before it was iPhones. When it was they were put on phones.
What a time!
It was so fun.
I know.
I miss old school Bejeweled, man. New school, old school, all the Bejeweled. Bejeweled doesn't
all the
change.
Bejeweled. Bejeweled I played so much too in like school. Not gonna lie.
It's a good time.
I played Bejeweled so much in school.
Bejeweled is so much fun.
All right, Kayla, number 5.
Number 5, also very unsurprising pick. It's Baldur's Gate 3.
Shocker.
There it is.
There it is. There's the fucker.
If we made this episode last year, this probably would have been number 1. But since it's come out and I've had several months removed from like actively playing the game, the recency bias has faded a little bit. I still think it's a absolutely phenomenal game, but it's not my favorite game I've ever played in my life.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's one of the best made recent video games ever, with the amount of just content that is in there, the amount of variety in the game. Yeah. There's just so much you can do when you play to make your experience like uniquely different than any other person who's played the game.
Which is great for replay value too.
Yeah, it has great
so good for replay value.
It took them so long and for a reason. Like there was so much like love and attention put into this game from every person that worked on it, like so clearly. As someone who plays D&D pretty regularly, like I love that. I love seeing the lore in a video game, and such a well done video game as well. It's just, I highly recommend it. And I know there's so many people who like are not big video game people, and then this was their jumping point into playing video games for the first time for a multitude of reasons, Asterion being that reason a lot of the time for a lot of the girlies out there.
For the girlies, at
He's
least.
so girly
For the dudes, a little bit different, but...
Playing Baldur's Gate 3 for Asterion Dating Simulator.
God.
Which is really funny to me. But there's just so much to love about the game, and there's so many different ways you can experience it as well. It's just so good. Just such a high quality, well-made game, and the fact that it's like causing quote-unquote controversy because it's so well made that other AAA developers are like, you can't expect this to be the standard of all games. It's bad because it's setting too high
for
of a
you
standard.
guys,
And I'm like, oh my god, yeah.
For you guys, I will. For the some AA and like, you know, very small studios, no, obviously not. But for the AAAs, yeah, step the fuck up.
It's just
put
like,
effort into your games. I don't give a fuck what your shareholders want. Put some effort into your games, so you might actually make more money, dumbasses.
Put time and effort into your game and don't release games that are unfinished. Like maybe that's like not a bad standard to have for a video game, you know?
Yeah, or at least obviously, especially these days, there's always going to be patches. But like, at least put out a game that is mostly
a functional game. As all we're asking.
Not game-breaking. Looking at you, early version of Assassin's Creed Unity and Cyberpunk 2077, even though I never played that. But, because they actually, you can even throw in OG Final Fantasy 14, because I know the first version of Final Fantasy 14 was apparently trash.
That really had to get completely overhauled before it was
But those are also examples of they listened to their communities and then ultimately fixed them. All three of those, they ultimately fixed them, thank God. So they're good to play now. But originally, oh god, no, those were like big notorious examples of like, finish your fucking games and don't rush to push it out. You know? Like, and that's why I appreciate Larian. Like, Larian, put this game out for at least 3-ish years of early access, which is also probably a huge reason why it ended up turning out to be as good as it did. Because they took it, they probably didn't take every single community feedback, but they clearly took it a lot to improve the game as well as it did, and clearly it worked wonders for them. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that this was super successful in that regard. And super successful in that this is probably their only iteration of a well-known IP they're going to do. Otherwise, I think they're going to work on either more Divinity type games or a new, whatever the new CRPG they come up with IP. But most likely, people are definitely going to pay attention to it now, if anything. Whatever the next game they're working on, they're definitely going to pay attention to it because of Baldur's Gate. Probably, I don't think it will necessarily get the same highs unless somehow it becomes as trendy as Baldur's Gate, which I don't know how that's going to happen without the D&D situation with it. But who knows? It will probably definitely get more attention than it probably would have prior, which is great. So good for them. Good for Larian for lifting up their studio, and hopefully they continue the good. I mean, we say more in a separate video about Baldur's Gate 2. If you want to go refer to my birthday video this year about that, go ahead, check it out. So me and Kayla say a lot of thoughts about that, but but yeah, no, Baldur's Gate's a fantastic game. Highly recommend it.
Great game.
Works really well on the PlayStation 5. You can play it on the Xbox Series S. The graphics just aren't as good because that system's not as high powered, but it's still playable. So like, it's not game breaking. And of course, Kayla, I think you played a lot of this too on like Steam and like online.
Yeah, I played it on
like
PC. So, and I have a 4K monitor, so that is how I played the game.
Oh yeah. So like, yeah. So yeah, recommend playing it. Get it somewhere at some point. Por favor. Even better if you can get it at a discount. Really great game.
Yep.
It's one of those few games that is so worth the full price, though. I will tell you that,
easily.
and more. Absolutely worth its full price. So don't feel bad if you get it at full price. But
definitely not.
It's superior. It's even significantly better when you get it at a discount because it's just that good of a game.
Definitely.
All right,
what is
where's my mouse? Number 5. I forget. Let's see what I do. All right, there we go. Another throwback.
Nice.
Dead right.
Oh,
OG
really
Lego Star Wars
that's
video
really
games.
fun.
I love these so much as a kid. I put so many hours into these. Oh my god! Long story short, is a good family friend. Parents, you know, met that family, you know, in birthing classes. You know, I'm like one of the kids is the same age as me, kind of deal. You know, we're pregnant at the same time, all that. You know what I mean? Like the mom's classes, all that jazz. Became really good family friends. Both the two oldest boys. There's also like the two oldest boys. I don't want to give too many details, but they had like, I think they got this for like their Xbox, I'm pretty sure, or like, I don't think they had a GameCube, but they had an Xbox, I'm pretty sure, and then they got this for like their Xbox, whatever iteration it was. Either it was probably the 360 or the original Xbox X game, I forget which one. But like, they had the original Star Wars video game thing, and I remember just whenever we went over there to play it for so much, eventually got it for GameCube. Got the original video game, and then the original trilogy version, which now these two come combined in a whole collection, and now there's another version that's the whole Skywalker saga, which is basically a remake of these original, these two original games, plus all the, Disney, 3, Rey trilogy ones. Which I haven't played through that much already, but from what I have, it's not too bad. But I'm very biased towards the old original versions, having played through them so many times. Somehow find a way to complete both of these games separately, but also in one collection too. And also, a fun fact, I even had the Game Boy Advance version of the original trilogy one too, and the Game Boy Advance, also pretty playable. But I'll be biased and say I definitely prefer the bigger console GameCube version.
Nice.
It's just more fun, and it does a pretty good job going over the events of the stories from the movies. Of course, but with its own Lego humor to it. Of course, because Lego, has been known for that in their iterations of these games. Or whatever they're adapting, they like to throw in their Lego humor. They're just fun. I don't know what I would call them, but they're like, fun little mini adventure action games to play as a kid and just play for fun. And you can die how many times, but then you get revived and you just keep going and playing the level and then collect as much coin as you can, or studs. It's just fun. It's such a fun game to play as a kid.
They are really fun.
I recommend you playing the original complete collection of this too, just to see what the old style was like. It's still fun. I think that's mainly how you can acquire these. I've noticed that original trilogy has been sold separately in certain aspects, and I think not so much the video game one, but the original trilogy one has been sold like as a separate 3 trilogy entity. But like, get the original complete version, not the Skywalker saga one. Well, you could try that one too, but like the original complete version is like the iconic one for me to play for these. So highly recommend them. They're just so much fun. They're just stupid fun to have, and they're like the OG nostalgic Lego video game for me. But there's still other Lego video games that are great too as well. But this one's like the one that I'm just like, whenever I think of Lego video games, it's these two.
Nice.
Boom. But yeah.
Alright, Sammy, what is your number 5?
It's the New York Times Connections game. The daily Connections game.
That is funny.
Honestly, they're really good game though.
They're a really fun little daily
favorite.
puzzle.
It's my favorite of the daily
puzzles. It's like
puzzles.
a daily little treat. And then sometimes you get them super fast and you feel so smart. And then other times you're like, what is this asking for?
It's like, what's going on right now? Yeah.
Damn.
My worst is when I know what the categories are, but I can't put them in the categories.
Yeah, I can't figure out what the word is because you got
yes.
3, and I'm like, what is this other word? I did the one from today, and I'm like, I got everything except green, and I'm like, how? And then it's because I don't know something about one subject.
Right. But it does feel really good when you have the very specific knowledge in one.
Yeah.
You know the purple, like, immediately. It makes you feel really good.
Yeah. I got the blue today, like, the first time, and I'm like, oh, it's this. This is the connection.
When they start throwing in
it feels
sports,
nice.
Like, sports people
or
sports
is hard.
Or musicians' names. I'm like, what is this? Like, I can't be expected to know this.
Or even, like, specific things that's, like, the first 3 letters are a color spelled backwards.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
hate those
what
ones.
are no.
I hate those ones so much.
Those ones are rough.
I know to look for them now because they do those
I do too.
shit all the time, but like it sucks. I hate those ones.
It's just like a rough one to get hit with. But no, it's like a good little puzzle.
It is.
And I do like that you can only do one a day. I know that there's a way to get around it. There's website thing, but I like that it's one a day. You can't spend your entire day like badgering yourself with this puzzle.
It's nice. It's really fun.
It's a little treat. I don't like crosswords, so this is like a nice little thing to do every day.
I do Connections, Wordle, and Strands are the 3 games I'll do every day.
I don't like Strands. I'll do Connections and Wordle. I don't really like Strands that much. I'll do it if I've done the other 2.
Yeah, it depends on how bored I am at work, really, is how many of them I do a day. Strands is always the last one I do.
Strands is always the last one, and I feel like I'm always like, by the time
my
I
big
get to
problem
Strands.
with Strands is I don't like to use the hints, so I make it purposely harder on myself.
Yeah.
Connection, solid game.
Connections is a video game.
It is. All right. So my number 4 is Persona 5.
Now, that is not shocking at all.
Another one. Like these top 5 games.
Oh, does Royal count, or are you just doing base Persona 5?
I'm doing base Persona 5 just because I don't think Royal adds too much of anything important to it that much.
Okay. Besides that red haired chick, I only started playing it, so I haven't gotten too far. You don't need to spoil it for me,
it adds like her and a couple new characters, and there's like an entire semester worth of stuff you can play, which I think is really cool. I just don't think it adds overall to the like overall Persona 5 story like that much.
Gotcha.
Like,
I mean, don't spoil it too much for me.
Yeah, like I don't think it's bad, but I feel like Persona 5 by itself is perfectly good and cool.
All right, gotcha. All right.
This is another, like, I play a lot of JRPGs, obviously, but this is, the Persona franchise has always been one of my favorites. Persona 3 and 4 are also really, really good. But Persona 5, I just love the characters of this game so much, and I love, like, the storyline, and it feels, the storylines of, like, the villains they're fighting, and they feel so relevant to modern-day society in comparison to the other games as well, so that's something I really, really enjoyed. And I really like the, like, turn-based combat of Persona 5, but the part of the game I really like is, like, the, in-between school life, like, talking to people, forming relationships, like, social links, like, that type of gameplay loop. I really enjoy that the most, I think, along with the storyline. I think the thing I like the least is, like, the Persona fusion element of the game you have to do to progress, which is like, it's fine and whatever, but it's just like the part I care about the least, so I never do it, and then I get like really fucked over because my stuff isn't strong enough when I get into certain fights, because I'm just ignoring a very important element of the game.
It's like, you need to improve your battle stats and do those dungeons well, but...
Right, and it's like, I can do the turn-based combat, but it's like, but I'm clearly ignoring, like, a very important aspect, but it's just like, it's not fun for me. I don't like doing it, so I just, whatever. But I really like all elements of it. Persona 5, there's something about the, like, theming and the storytelling and the characters that I like so much. They also another game that has, like, a really, really good spin-off game for Persona 5, Strikers.
I was about to say, that's also a Muso game, too. Yeah. That is a Warrior spin-off.
Yes.
I'm sensing a pattern. Warrior spin-off.
They really do a really good job with the storytelling.
I think I need to bite the bullet and finally play Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors. I think that's what I need to do. I just need to bite the bullet and do that, because those are the original,
right,
like,
because
games.
Persona 5 Strikers is like a kind of a sequel to Persona 5, and it's really good. Like, the gameplay is good, but also the storyline and the character stuff is also, like, really, really good. I haven't played Tactica. I have Persona 5 Tactica, which is like this but Fire Emblem gameplay, essentially. But I just haven't gotten around to that because 10,000 games released last year, and this is one that came out the tail end of the year, and I just haven't had the time to get around to it yet.
Yeah, I don't have Tactica yet. But I will say, Atlas has been killing it lately. Like, in general, they have Catherine, which is an interesting puzzle game. I haven't played too much of that, but that's an interesting puzzle game. They have Catherine, including Catherine Full Body.
Yeah.
And they milk a lot of Persona 3 is still very popular. Persona 3, they have Persona 4, but I don't think that gets talked about as much. But Persona 5 and 3, they milk the shit out of.
The thing with the Persona games is they release one game and they make about 7 games based off the same game. And that's just like the Persona gameplay loop. Like, we're not going to get Persona 6 for like another 5 years probably at minimum.
If anything, I feel like we might get it sooner rather than later based on what I'm hearing.
Well,
they released some info on it. They're like, it's probably going to be a female protagonist, and it sounds like the color scheme, shocker, is going to be green, which is like, we have blue,
that's
we have
logical,
yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but they're saying that the main protagonist might be a woman.
Because they also, a lot of their, I assume the same staff has been working on Metaphor ReFantazio, which is
that
like
one I'm really interested
fantasy
in.
Persona, which I'm very curious to play that because that looks really interesting as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, this it's just good. I like the vibes really. I think the most about it.
Did you also get Persona 3 Reload?
I didn't, just because I've played Persona 3 already.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't feel the need to.
Yeah, so I did get Reload recently, so I'm really excited to.
I
get
like
into
Persona
that.
3. Persona 5 is my favorite. I would say Persona 3 is my second favorite. Persona 4 is my least favorite by like quite a bit. Like a pretty big gap in between 3 and 4 for me, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's a hot take, 'cause I know people love the characters in Persona 4, and I do not. I do not like those characters.
I mean, but also 4 in general, I feel like there's stuff for it, but I see way more stuff for 3 and 5 in general.
Yeah.
I feel like those are like the more really
think-
well-liked stories.
Yeah, 4 I think has a fighting game. And does it have dancing all night? I think that's Persona 4 maybe. I don't they make a lot of Persona spin-off games.
No, they do.
All the time. They really try to milk each of those games as much as they possibly can.
And it's crazy enough because the Persona series is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series, which they just recently came out with I think Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance
for
did. I think for
recent.
outside of, I think it originally was released on like Switch and then it went outside of Switch, I think, recently.
I don't know. Yeah, something like that. But that is
because you can buy it on
fairly recent
PlayStation
game.
now.
Yeah,
But that's like it's one of the spin-off series of
it's
the
got
Megami
the
Tensei.
same. It's got the same like gameplay style, like not like I mean like battle style. Really, it's like the weird school life stuff is not in there, but like the battle, like the turn-based stuff, that's and the Persona Fusion stuff, like that's all the same from Shin Megami Tensei.
So it connects, and then there's of course Igor. He just shows up.
Do you love Igor?
Always there. Hi, Igor. I haven't gone too far into the game, though, because I know this game, and probably other Persona games, too, hundreds of hours long.
Yeah, oh yeah. Easily
hundreds of hours long. Very long games.
Easily 100-hour game. Easily. If not more. It is a long game.
I mean, I've heard 200 more hours, so.
It's long.
It is a long game you will devote a lot of time to, but I think it's not too bad to pick up and put down too.
It's very easy to do that as well. So, yeah.
But yeah,
great game.
Yeah, I started it recently, and I'm having fun with both of them. So both 3 and 5. So finally.
All right. What's your fourth game?
My fourth game, which I have to double check. Let's see what shows up. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yes. An icon of all times, The Sims 2.
Of course.
Why not 3? I barely played 3. Pretty much. The Sims 2 is like one of the definitive games of my childhood. Probably was way too young to play it, though. I'll be honest, I was like 10 or 11 when I first started playing it because my cousin started playing it, and I was just like, I want this. So, it's easily, I mean, there's a reason, even though, again, EA games do, but like, hey, they are the dominant ones when it comes to simulation games. They have a chokehold on it for a reason. This game especially, I think, kicked off the sim craze as well. They're just so much fun to play. I managed to re-download it, and I got a nice fancy Discord tag name because of it. Thank you, guys.
Yep,
thank you for that. But yeah, particularly the expansions I had for Sims 2 were University, Open for Business, Pets, Seasons, Bon Voyage, and Apartment Life. Basically all the fun, relevant ones where you get more characters and more places to build, like, houses and stuff and all that jazz. Mm-hmm. I played this game mainly for the genetics of it all, not gonna lie. Mainly because I'm, like, literally, like, digital Gregor Mendeling these Sims. Mm-hmm. Not gonna lie. I'm, like, Gregor Mendel with these Sims. And the pets, too, especially. Because I was like, what phenotypic traits are they each gonna have? Is this one gonna have blonde hair? Is this one gonna have blue eyes? Which traits of each parent are they gonna get? And it's kind of crazy how, like, dominant and recessive traits actually stick in the coding of this game, which is kind of wild, but yeah. Anyways, but no, they're just fun to play. Who has not played The Sims and hasn't drowned their Sims? Like, so everyone's done it at some point. Who hasn't done any other crazy kind of stuff in The Sims games? Like, they're just great games to play. It's iconic for a reason. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually really enjoyed playing also the pre-built Sim characters that came in the games, especially the original base 3 towns that came in the original Sims 2 game. I had a fun time playing with those guys, too, along with making my own families, of course, but I enjoyed them, and the kind of predetermined storylines for them, and then, you know, changing the fates as one does on your own playing these games. So, And of course, Cheat Code Central, the first time I learned about cheat codes in a game, and how that saved my life and made playing The Sims also way more doable and manageable too, to make everyone happy and do what I want to. It's like, literally, it's like the first feeling, like, you feel like you're God as, like, a 10-year-old, or like an 11-year-old playing this game. Personally, I hear EA, once again, doing some stupid practices when it comes to Sims 4. And it's basically recommended that go ahead and just download Sims 2 or Sims 3 to play, because EA is doing some stupid, like, money-grabbing bullshit with 4. Not too many people are happy about that. But yeah, no, Sims 2, it's an icon. It's an icon of our times. It was the it girl of simulation games. And also one of the few simulation games where I'm like, play on the PC for this. It is not the same console experience it is a shittier experience on a console. It makes no sense to play this game on a console, in my humble opinion. Like, this is one of the few times I'm just like, do not play this game on a console. Play it only on a PC, period. I don't say that too much for many video games, because I feel like most, if they can be played on a console, you can totally play them on a console and do whatnot. But this is one of the few games where I'm like, please only play it on a PC. Because that's where it's optimally the best to play it. So, and where you get the most joy and benefit out of it. But yeah. Sims 2, an icon.
Sims 2.
That bitch.
Sims 2.
Sims 2 is that bitch. Alright, Sammy.
Nancy Drew Danger on Deception Island. Look.
Oh, nice.
I am of an age.
I don't know if I've played this one, but I have played Nancy.
I have not
There's
played any
so
Nancy
many
Drew.
of them. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
There's this one. There's some in the carousel. There's some in mansions. She went everywhere. She's an icon of our time.
She
is
is
an
the
icon.
detective
Absolutely
girl.
iconic.
Nancy Drew.
This one I remembered because it also involved whales, and that was fun.
Love that.
Nancy Drew's
Love
an
that.
it girl, period.
Nancy Drew is the it girl.
Yeah.
This entire series was just really fun. It was either this one, and I vividly remember the one that takes place in an abandoned amusement park,
Huh.
which is really fun. I mean, it's just like Nancy Drew and solving little mysteries. Some of the weird mini games are deceptively difficult.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like puzzle games, but like it's like 2003 graphics.
Oh,
So like
yeah.
everything
Right,
is
right.
just like much harder to like control. But otherwise, she's an icon and we love her.
She is. She is an icon.
This
I've
one-
played some of these games. I couldn't tell you which ones, honestly. Do not
I
remember.
remember the one with the. I literally had to look. I remember Nancy Drew games, and I did have to look it up and then just be like, which one is the one I'm remembering?
Which one
'Cause I
has
didn't remember
whales?
this by name, obviously.
Right.
But the names did come back to me. Danger on Deception Island.
Yes.
You can get these games for like $5
Damn.
on Steam. They're
Nice.
cheap.
The fact that they're still, I like the fact that you can still get them, honestly.
But you can still buy them and
That's
you can
really
still
fun.
play them
Unlike
in all
Club
their
Penguin.
janky glory.
Yeah.
Unlike Club Penguin. And all their janky glory, but they're still available. We love
Mhm.
that for Nancy.
Yes.
Like, is this entirely a cash grab based on IP? Sure. Who cares, man? It's Nancy Drew. There's like
Nancy Drew.
1,000 Nancy Drew books. There should be some Nancy
There's
Drew video
so many,
games.
actually.
There should be more Nancy
There's
Drew
so
video
many.
games. I think they would
No,
thrive
Nancy Drew
too, like a
books,
point and
too.
click adventure.
There's like
Yeah.
multiple generations of Nancy Drew books.
There are multiple generations
Oh,
of Nancy
yeah.
Drew books, and I think every child should read them. They're so
Yes.
fun.
They're very
That
fun.
Yeah.
and like because also they're
The
she's
Hardy
in the
Boys,
same universe.
too.
The Hardy Boys are mentioned in this game.
Oh,
They
cool.
don't appear, but in some of the Nancy Drew games, they do appear.
That's
they are
pretty cool.
characters.
Crossover event.
They coexist very often. I love that for them. They're great. I don't know. It's just a very specific game for my childhood, as most of these are.
Yep.
We love that for her.
Yeah.
Love Nancy Drew. All right. My number 3, top 3 video game ever.
Top 3.
Let's
go.
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, not
Oh,
shocking.
yay.
So this is such a good vibes game. Like everything about this game is good vibes. It's like honestly kind of a lifestyle. Rather more than a video game, it is a lifestyle.
In a way, yes.
In a way, I've gone to a Stardew Valley Orchestra concert this year, and I also have purchased a Stardew Valley cookbook this year. And I just made chocolate chip cookies out of it this week. They're very good. But it's so good. It's if people don't know, although I don't know why you wouldn't know. It's a farming sim essentially. Is all
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
You take over your dead grandpa's farm, and you try to earn money farming and owning animals, and you can go mining and fishing, and there's all sorts of little small town things you can do there, and you can also like marry a
Get
person,
married.
get married. And I think the thing that like really puts it over the top in terms of it being like a farm game is like it's a little bit kind of like there's got like a little tiny fantasy element to it too, because there's the Jumetos and the wizard, and then there's like these goblins and dwarfs, and then there's Krobus, the little sewer guy. Love him. He's great. He's an icon.
There is that little sewer guy.
Yeah, I love him. You can also marry him if you want. He's an icon. Yeah, Krobus, you can marry him.
Interesting.
Didn't know that.
You don't really. It's like you do marry him, but it's more so he just moves into your house more so than you are married to him. He's like a roommate, but you can choose to do that, and I love that.
Interesting.
He's cool.
Love that for him.
Mm-hmm. But it's just the vibes are so good. It is a stressful game at times for me because I've played so much of it. I need to like optimize everything that I do, and there is like such a precise like timeline to how this goes, where the seasons only last so long and the days only last so long, so it's kind of a little bit stressful when there's like I only got so much time to fit into what I want to do today.
You only have so much energy.
I'm really into the speedrunning community for this game because I find it hilarious that there is a speedrunning community for Stardew Valley, but I think
of course it would be
incredibly fascinating that there is, and it's pretty prevalent. And people do absolutely insane things with this game in speedruns and everything, but it's so cool. It's just the vibes are so good. Love everything about it. It's a fun game to play, and it's just vibes. Great vibes. I would love to live in this video game. If there's a video game I would love to live in, it would be this one.
Oh, of any of these, this is the most peaceful one.
Definitely.
Love that. You are just living on a farm essentially in the middle of nowhere, which like not ideal, but also like, heh.
But I would also like love to inherit a farm and just like leave my corporate job and just like live and maintain a farm. And just have that be my life. I would love that actually. Be fun. Would be great.
Moving on.
My number 3. Least surprising thing ever, if you know me. Boom! Bitch, Kingdom Hearts. Let's go, baby! Let's go, baby! Oh, I love this series. Stupidly so. Is it the best storytelling? Probably not. But you know what? Is it entertaining nonetheless? Sure. Does it talk a lot about darkness and light and darkness and light and heartless and hearts and Kingdom Hearts and yes to all that and everything. Sora is a little lovable, happy-go-lucky, I guess at this point, teenager still. He's still a teenager, oh my god. Voiced in English by Haley Joel Osment, which, AI, Sixth Sense dude, which is wild. And also, even better, Roxas / Ventus, voiced by Jesse McCartney in English, which also throws me for a loop. I'm like, holy shit. And also, the most badass you'll ever see Mickey Mouse in any form of media, in my personal humble opinion. He had his moment too in Kingdom Hearts 3. Oh my god, he was a fucking boss-ass motherfucker in that game. Love him to death. Also love how Goofy is, like, actually quite intelligent in this game, in this series, which I appreciate. Give Goofy some intelligence, damn it. And Donald, Donald's Donald, And, like, the fact that those are your side characters, too, for the majority of the game, assuming you're playing as Sora. Fantastic. Like, it's just a fun series. Personal favorites, though, I'd probably say gameplay-wise, 3, but story and gameplay, I would say 2. 2 is just, oh my god, the opening for 2. I fucking love that opening. I love the song Passion. Or Sanctuary, as it is in English. Utada Hikaru, I think it's how you say, her name or their name. Fantastic artist. Probably how most people outside Japan know of Utada is through Kingdom Hearts. Because otherwise, Utada, very well-known artist within Japan, had some very high successful albums before signing on to do songs for Kingdom Hearts, and came back even for the third game to do a couple new songs too, and both of those songs, in my opinion, are actually pretty solid. One of them produced, surprisingly, by Skrillex, and not that bad of a song. Perfect for the intro part of the video game, though. Definitely more appropriate than the end. But yeah, and then there's a whole fucking cast of characters outside of, because the main premise of this video game series is it's a Disney and Square Enix collab. Square Enix, who is famous notably for Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, a bunch of other old school, like, classic RPG games from before Squaresoft and Enix were just a thing, and then they eventually merged into Square Enix. But and in the early games, they actually do feature several notable Final Fantasy characters. Not so much in the third game, except for in some DLC stuff, but they weren't the biggest part of the game overall. It was more so focused on the Disney characters and going out to these Disney worlds to help save them from going into darkness, or trying to save them from the Heartless, or the Nobodies, or whatever is the bad guy entity. But also this is one of those games where the story has just branched off into so many different, like, tech mediums that it's kind of like, at some point you just start to read up what's on the Wikipedia story-wise, which is fine. You can play all these, now in a all-in-one package on the PS4, or, as they're now just recently, been put on Steam. You do not have to go to the Epic Games Store to play these games online. You can play them on Steam, and they're at a discount as of recording. They might not be by the time we publish, probably won't, but they're at a discounted price, which is like, I think it's like the 1.5 and the 2.5 remix, and then there's the 2.8 remix, and then there's, of course, the Kingdom Hearts 3 with the DLC. Like, that's all the ones you have to buy. You can, if you get, I think there's a deal, too, going on. We can buy all 6 for a certain amount of price, and that's a pretty good deal, considering you get to play basically 7 games, plus, like, some additional content as well with that. So, like, that's, in my eyes, for the price that it's at a discount right now, it's a pretty solid deal. But yeah, no, it's a fun series. It's a super fun series. It's a fun action JRPG. Just fun hit combos. They make the bosses here tough too. Some special bosses can be really tough. So you do get a good challenge, which I think is kind of surprising considering this is a Disney game. Story-wise, it can vary depending on how well it's told. I definitely get the vibe that they kind of were ad hocing some of the story along the way, but now we're done with the old Xehanort Saga, thank God. We're moving on to KH4. To what I know of, they're actively working on KH4, and there's going to be elements brought in from, of course, an app-based video game that I think has since been shut down, may or may not be shut down, that are going to be relevant in that story, probably. Especially since one of the characters in the teaser trailer was one that I think was shown to have died, which is interesting, because Sora's in that world before, so then I'm just like, is Sora dead or in purgatory? But then he's in a world that's similar to, like, a video game world that's based off of modern-day Japan that was introduced in Kingdom Hearts 3? Yeah, it gets interesting, girl. I'm spoiling shit, but, like, it's interesting how they're gonna connect this in the future. Very curious to see how this goes. But they'll bring it to the modern era. Who knows when the heck that's gonna get released. As long as it's not another 13-year absence between 2 and 3, I'll take it. Girl, I will take it, whatever. Because that was kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm pretty sure, what is it? The second game was released in, 2006, and then, like, I think they literally released 3 in 2019. So such a long gap between those two games. Oh my god. Granted, they did a bunch of smaller games in between on different consoles, not named PlayStation, but still. Like, at least now with a lot of tech, it's starting to kind of homogenize again a little bit. And Square, as of recent, because of piss poor sales tied to Final Fantasy games being exclusives on, like, the PS4 and some other crap they were doing, I guess they're pushing to be third-party everywhere, so hopefully that means you'll be able to play these games on any fucking system you want to, which is better for everyone, and more fun, and frankly smarter money-wise. So, yeah, hopefully you can just choose whatever system you want to play and have fun with that, and I'm curious to see what the story goes. It's a fun, like, turn-on, turn-off game, and being an older Disney fan, they still are including a lot of the older properties still in these games, but also, like, some of the newer ones I think are more innovative. To me, it's a blast to play in and explore those Disney worlds, coming off as an old school, like, Disney fan. Definitely not a fan of whatever the hell they're doing kind of modern-wise at Disney. I'm just like, what the fuck are you bitches doing? Get your shit together. Corporate Disney, get your fucking shit together. But no, and also, I have spoken about it multiple times, too. Kingdom Hearts is Disney's most underutilized asset outside of Japan. Bitch, yes. Granted, they would probably butcher a movie or a TV show of this, but still. You want to introduce more anime? Here you go. Here's an anime fucking video game-esque video game that you can, like, create with your own fucking Disney characters and make that into a show or movies if you want to. Like, utilize your franchise, damn it. You have it right there. But anyways. Kingdom Hearts, so much fun as a kid, great memories, and probably the best in my opinion, the best use of Disney characters within any type of video game setting, period. Especially the more classic, iconic ones. So, yeah. That's my rant.
I feel like this is a game series I should like, and I just don't. I just could never get into it. It is just...
That's fair. It's fair. It's one of those stories that's like, it has its flaws.
It's so confusing.
It has its flaws story-wise, but honestly, you don't need to pay attention to the story too much. You're just here for the vibes of exploring the Disney world and just, you know, in the individual fighting matches with, like, the bosses. So, it's more like that. It's more fun that way. Mm-hmm. And it's not as gory, it's not as... Well, I mean, it gets dark in the sense of talking about darkness, corrupting people, and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, like, it's a really E10 plus video game series, so they're not going to take it as far.
It's still Disney at the end of the day, so...
Yeah. So, like, they're not going to take it as far.
Right,
but
right.
Who knows? They did on 3 introduce Toy Story as a world, so they are starting to bring in Pixar elements, which is great.
Right.
Will they, potentially with the whole Quadron thing, are they going to branch into Star Wars and Marvel existing? Who knows? We shall see when 4 comes out if that actually ends up being a possibility because of how they set up that whole other world situation bullshit that way. But, you know what? If it's a stupid bullshit excuse to bring in some Marvel characters and revitalize Marvel characters or revitalize some Star Wars characters, fuck it, as long as it's done well in a gameplay sense.
Yeah,
but, you know, I don't take the story as seriously. It's stupid and fun for me to play. That's what it is. I wouldn't say it's stupid, but, like, it's just hella fun. And it's just fun to explore Disney worlds. Boom.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Alright,
and there's actually, I do like a lot of the original characters too, in this game. I think they're done pretty well, especially like the certain nobodies and stuff like that, like Roxas and Ventus and the original Birth by Sleep trio and all that jazz. And they have some dark moments too, especially Aqua. And Aqua's like solo game. That's like in this series. She goes through a lot of shit and she's just like, it's almost like a weird take on like mental health in a way. Her solo video game, you could argue. But that's a short experience, though. It's not a huge experience, but like it's still, I think, pretty decently done. But you know, it's like age appropriate, so. But anyways, continue on, Sammy. What do you have?
What is your third video game?
Danganronpa.
Hell yeah, Danganronpa.
It is one of the only couple of like
I need to add that to my
narrative-based video games that I've ever finished.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a delightful little time.
It's such a weird
puzzles.
A weird little murder mystery game. It's so
But it's like 5 different murder mysteries.
Yes. It's really good. It's so good.
You got a crazy bear.
Mm-hmm.
He's delightful.
Monokuma's gotta be like one of my favorite video game characters to exist.
Monokuma's up there as one of my favorite little characters ever made.
Such a little weirdo, but I love him so much.
I know, he's so cute in every way.
Mm-hmm. I have a plush of him, I'm pretty sure. I have him and also Usami from Danganronpa 2. I have both of them.
Yeah, they're she's less, they're less fun.
Yes. This was my high school obsession was Danganronpa. I absolutely love it.
It is a good game.
It's really good. It's a really good game.
And, like, the other 2 are... Look, I don't think anything beats the first one. I think the first one's still the best one. Mainly just because it just is a wild ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the other ones try to top it, and it's not as fun.
I think I actually like the second game the best. The third game, we go a little bit too far off the rails. We go really off the rails in the third game.
I don't know why. I think I like the characters in the first game more.
Mm-hmm.
Just because
I think I like the second game characters better, and that's why. But it's like they're very
it's just
similar.
Like the correct amount of weirdos.
Yeah,
because they're all insane little weirdos.
Yes,
and that's the best part.
The third
game's a little too far. I think the first 2 games I think are really good.
The third game is so unhinged.
A little too much.
It's too much to the third game.
It's a little too much.
But I like half the fun with the Danganronpa games is like always just meeting the new characters and like what little weirdos are gonna be in the cast.
What absolute insanity.
Yeah.
Because you don't think they can get weirder.
Right.
And the problem with Danganronpa 3 is I think that we reached the peak of weird.
Yeah.
Because if you go weirder, it's not as good.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it's absolutely phenomenal, and I love everything about it.
My favorite Danganronpa character is Gundam Tanaka in Danganronpa 2, who thinks he's Overlord of Hell because he like raises hamsters. He's just like such a fucking little weirdo.
Oh, he's up
so
there.
funny.
I absolutely love him.
Yeah,
I love him. My favorite in Danganronpa 1 is the little serial killer girl whose name is absolutely blanking on me.
Toko. I love her.
Toko
She's
is
great.
So fun.
I'm also a big fan of Celeste in the first game.
Celeste also really,
She's
really
a little
fun.
weirdo as well.
Celeste Celeste's death is my favorite.
It's
is my
great.
favorite
That's
of
such
all
a
of them.
great death.
It's truly my favorite of all of the games. She's is my favorite.
Yes.
She's so like, it's so like, because sometimes they're
It's,
like,
so
okay, this
karma.
is like, it's so perfectly on theme,
Yes.
on
So
brand,
good.
all of the above. It's amazing.
It's really good.
I also just love truly the insanity that is all of, like, it just keeps getting weirder the whole time.
Yeah.
And you're in. From
Yes.
minute one, it's insane. It doesn't ease you into anything.
No,
You're in.
it's immediately
from the
weird, and like you just have to be
and
here
you
for
have
the
to
ride.
be on board,
Yeah.
or else you're not going to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Love that for them. All right, Kayla.
All right. So my number 2 is Final Fantasy 14. So to put things into
Not
perspective,
shocking.
I have been playing
Not
this
shocking.
game since like November of last year. I probably have somewhere around 500 hours of this game now. Truly it has taken over my life. It's really the first like real MMO I've ever played because I've been very scared of those for a while because they're very intimidating, like a very intimidating type of game to play. But I have been getting told about Final Fantasy 14 for years because you really can play it as a single player game for quite a lot of it. And it has such an extensive free trial that you can play like 300 hours of the game completely for free before deciding if you like it and want to actually subscribe to the game or not. Which I ended up doing clearly. And then I like speedran the entire rest of the expansion up to current content in like a month and a half. In an insanely fast time period. And I don't know, it's really good. It made me realize that I do actually really like MMOs as a gameplay style. And I have a lot of friends who play this game that I play with, and I think I wouldn't enjoy it had I not had like a community of people who I knew who were also playing the game. Because I feel like that is like one of the big selling points of MMOs is playing it with other people and the like more social element of that. And I really, really enjoy that. There's a lot of elements of the game that are more fun, collaborative, if you have friends who play it. And for a long time, I did not have any friends who played video games, and now I do. So I really enjoy it for that. And it's really just like there's so much shit in this game. And in Final Fantasy in particular, in comparison to other MMOs, it's like there's like clearly the main part of the game where there's like the whole raiding element as well, but you could also just not interact with that at all and just like craft the entire time, and that's also perfectly chill. Or you can, like, I know there's a very large community who just like essentially like glamour different outfits for their characters, and that's all they do. It's like there's so many things you can do in the game, and there's truly so much content there. And I've never had like more fun playing a video game before with friends. I just really, really enjoy it. It's very fun. Yeah, that's mainly it. It's a great game. It's definitely going to become, I think, if it's not already, it's very close to surpassing the amount of hours I've put into my number 1 video game. So, it might have already surpassed it. I do think the game I have as number 1, even when I surpass it hours-wise, I think will still stay my number 1 video game for a lot of reasons. But, this will definitely become the game I have put the most time and hours into very shortly, if it hasn't already. So.
And it's honestly impressive, too, with Final Fantasy XIV. It's still going strong, and frankly, is probably the single thing keeping Square Enix afloat right now financially, which is funny how it changed over time, considering that it did not perform well at first, and they had to do this whole thing and revamp it, which thank God they did. Thank God they invested into that in the long term, because they finally got their shit together, and now it's like basically keeping them afloat at the moment. It's like the only thing keeping them afloat.
Time of recording this episode, the new expansion for this releases a week. 6 days from now, actually. I took time off of work to play it, so
nice.
You did.
I've taken off work a couple of times for video games. I've taken it off for this. I've taken it off for Tears of the Kingdom, and I've also taken it off for my number 1 game as well. So there's not a lot of games I've taken time off of work for, but all of them are on this list. Yeah, so
no, that's understandable. Like, and also like, the craziest thing too is that Final Fantasy 11's still online as well.
I know,
that's older technology, but it's still active. People still go on that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if the next Final Fantasy iteration is going to be an online game though, with how popular 14 still is.
I would be curious
because the trajectory so far has been 11, 12 and 13 were playable, then 14's online, and then 15, 16 individual solo games, and now will 17 be in the same case, or will it be a regular mainline game situation?
I'd be really
I'm
curious to see, because also they had Final Fantasy 14 with the last expansion, Endwalker, just finished up like their major storyline that was to take essentially from the first base game all the way through that. That was one big storyline, and they essentially wrapped it off. So the next expansion, Dawn Trail, is supposed to be like a new beginning for a storyline. So it feels like they're it's like a soft reboot of the game there, where it's going to be like a sort of a new thing.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious how much farther they want to keep doing expansions versus creating a whole new MMO. So
yeah, which makes me curious. I'm like, are they, I guess 17, the inevitable Final Fantasy 17 is just going to be not an MMO, basically?
Yeah. I don't know.
Or maybe the next MMO will be like 18, 19, or 20?
Yeah,
maybe.
I'll be very curious to see what
they might switch up that pattern, because they had a kind of a little bit of a pattern going on there for a hot minute, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see how that plays out, but
yeah.
I mean, clearly having a dedicated team, though, to work on, because I don't think they've done too much major iterations to 11 since, like, apparently, since I last checked, since 2021. So that one's just had little patches, nothing major, though. So that one may be close to ending it, unless they do, like, a weird nerd version for it to still exist, but just, suspend doing major edits and stuff to it. But it seems like they're putting a lot of eggs still into 14, and 14's still popular, so
yeah, there's got a huge player base still. So
yeah,
it's definitely very alive. The game.
They might just wait a little bit longer too to do another MMO. Then potentially, might just 17 might just become another regular baseline game. So I don't know. We'll see. See what happens. I guess I'm curious.
Right.
For having never played this, I don't know if I ever will. Mainly because MMOs I've never been the biggest fan of, but like I know this is good.
The good thing
cool
with this game,
but
you can play it for free for a very, very long time.
For a very long time.
So are you at the point where you have to pay for it now? Or
I am, yeah, because it's the first 3 expansions of the game you can play completely for free, and there's a couple of other restrictions on it where you can't use like the market board, and there's like a whole you have a cap on the amount of money you have and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So
like, how much is it like per month? Out of curiosity, currently,
I want to say I paid $12 a month.
Okay, but that's what makes sense as an investment though for you, because you play that constantly.
And
if you didn't play it as much, then it wouldn't make any sense to play that.
And I also don't have any subscription services like Netflix or anything. Like I don't use those. My subscription services are now it's video games. Is really all I do. So.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. As long as you play it consistently enough to justify paying the price, no issue. It'd just be more of a waste of money if you didn't play that much. But like you play this all the time, so like. That makes sense. For me, I don't know if I would guarantee to play that all the time. That's where my hesitancy comes in.
Yeah.
Because I don't just want to, like, just cap it up in the free version and then, like, oh, I can't play the whole thing because nerf, and I don't want to spend more money. So, I don't know. So that's why I don't know if I ever will play this game. But, yeah, I mean, it sounds fun from everyone I've heard who's played it, so.
There's a very high, like, I feel like level of entry for MMOs generally. Like they're very intimidating for just like a person to decide to play. And a lot of the communities are bad. Like Final Fantasy is definitely the least toxic of the MMO communities that exist, but
which is kind of wild. Because the Final Fantasy community of themselves not perfect.
And it's still pretty bad. Like I'm not gonna say it's good. Like it's definitely better than like World of Warcraft or whatever, but it's like the community can still be pretty bad. So
yeah, God. Oh, God.
It's really funny, because when I was in high school, I had my 2 best friends played this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So, like, you tell me you're playing Final Fantasy. Kayla and I have had a conversation with this, and I'm like, this was one of the things about video games, was, like, they would just play, and we would just be around, and we would just have conversations around, and I never cared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we had conversations about the Kayla before you started playing.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, I'm playing it, and I'm like, another one.
Another
one down.
Yeah.
They played this all throughout high school.
It is an addiction, the MMO
It is.
lifestyle. It
And
really
the thing
can
is,
be.
they played it when it first came out.
Oh yeah,
So, like,
yeah, they were playing the really
played it
So
since
they
shit
played the
came
shit
out.
Yeah, the
version.
shit version of the game.
They
yeah.
did. They did. They played that version, and I think they still play it to this day.
Nice.
Good for them.
Crazy.
Good for them.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. I truly, I've seen this game being played and just truly never gave a shit.
Yeah. MMOs
Truly
are
did not interest
definitely
me.
not a thing I can
MMOs are
recommend.
not for me.
I can't recommend
MMOs
that
are
to
not-
just the general public. I can't recommend you play
Absolutely
I mean, the
not.
thing is, MMOs are not really a
Absolutely
general
not. They're
public
not
kind
a
of game.
They're
They're not.
barely a game.
Like
They're
the
more
only
of a-
the only type of like MMO stuff that's like general public stuff is like stuff you can easily get into, like an FPS shooter, like Call of Duty or like GTA Online.
Or
like those are like
Overwatch or shit.
yeah, or Overwatch. Like that's
yeah.
the more accessible general public like type of like, you know, online play for people. MMORPGs I feel like are definitely more niche and more oriented to like gamer people overall, I'd say. So all right, I guess it's my turn. Number
What is
two.
your number 2 game?
Take a wild guess at it. What it is? Take a wild guess. It's
Oh,
Baldur's
there
Gate
it
3.
is.
Ironically, not
There
a
she
3.
is.
Shocker.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I don't think we need to discuss as much here, but like, I love the characters in this
It's
game.
great.
I love
It's
the
a great
story.
game.
It's such great replay value. Easily one of the best games I've ever played in my life. Yeah, pretty much. I haven't played the PC version, but it is on console, and console it runs really well. Enjoy it there. Yeah, it's motherfucking Larian Studios, baby. So good, so
It's
good.
great. It's a great game.
Yep, it's convinced me to pay attention to what Larian's doing and to eventually try out Divinity, or at least Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, at least at some point.
Also, yeah, because of Baldur's Gate, I have also been meaning to go back and check out those eventually. So
Yeah, and then pay attention to whatever they're gonna do next, which is another probably 5 years from now, whatever they're
quite a
working on.
while, yeah.
Apparently they're working on a couple things, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see,
so
but yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I not to
Fantastic
beat the
game.
horse too much, but like great game.
Yeah,
Go
we have a lot of
play it.
we've got a lot of content on Baldur's
Go
Gate.
play
3,
it.
so.
We've went in depth into characters and story elements and all that jazz in the other video. So like, go check it out, por favor. All right, Sammy, your number dos.
Sims 4. So
Haha.
I got The Sims 4
Ha.
in college because my one friend in college bought the wrong version of the game.
That's
She
funny.
bought the PC version, but she had a Mac.
Mhm.
So she's like, I can't return it. Do you
That's
want
rough.
it? And I
Damn.
was like, sure.
But you got
And
a
it
free
was, like,
game.
right
That is
when-
awesome.
Yeah, and I got a free game.
Oh.
So I have it, and I like interior design.
Uh-huh.
I'm
I
here
mean,
for the.
that's
I'm here
really why a
mainly
lot
for
of people play
interior
Sims
design.
4 and
Oh,
3. It's like
absolutely.
the interior design
Absolutely.
elements
The
are really
interior
good.
design aspect is the best bit because
Mhm.
I just want to make houses.
Mhm.
You gotta make tiny houses, you make big houses, you make mansions, basically I just like architecture.
Mhm.
It's funny, I never care for the interior design stuff as much playing Sims
Interior
2, but like I do
design.
like to watch videos of people doing them though and doing builds
They're
and stuff
very
like
fun.
that on
It's a
YouTube.
good
So it's
time.
cool.
You do clutter, you make like, oh, is this person into this? It's blue, it's pink. What's the kid into? You have a great time.
Yeah. I mean I did shit on Sims 4 earlier, but mainly it's because of the EA kind of like weird pricing stuff they do with like their like additional packs and like their like splitting up packs where they never were originally split when it's like, come on, bitch, really? Like, that sort of stuff I'm more pissed off at EA with. But if you find enjoyment in Sims 4, have at it. No shade to you, dude. Like, no shade to you for having enjoyment in Sims 4. It's more so I'm just annoyed with Electronic Arts and their shitty, monetary practices. So, nothing against anyone who plays The Sims 4. It's just more so, like, certain principles like that where it's, like, annoying consumer, like, monetary choices. I'm like, ew. And, like, I'm pretty sure I just checked on Steam. Like, you can buy everything for, like, over $3,000. But, yeah. You can buy, like, everything for, like, over, like, $3,000, I'm pretty sure. Unless it's, like, I don't even know if that's discount or not, but it's, like, something ridiculous. Like, it's almost like you're pouring, like, how many thousands of dollars if you want to buy every single pack, and that, to me, it's a little bit, like, overkill. So, like, if you are gonna somehow buy that in bulk or in sections, please do it at discounted prices, for Pete's sake. Save yourself some money. Sammy, how many, have you gotten a bunch of packs for this, or do you just only play the base game?
Well, you can get some of them for free.
Oh, dope. Definitely. Do that for free. Por favor. Save your money.
Well, no, limited time. They're not
Oh,
free
okay.
anymore.
Damn it. I hate that. But that's good though.
The
But
Sims
yeah,
is
how often do you play for?
Whenever I want to build,
decorate a
things.
house.
Fair enough.
Decorate a house. I don't build. I actually hate the physical process of building a house. So I do actually just go on the gallery,
decorate.
get myself an empty house, and then decorate it. I truly hate the process of building rooms and foundations. And
I
shit.
am
hate it
team
so
pre-built
much.
house. I don't care.
I don't want to build a
pre-built
house. I will change everything. I will start from like no windows and shit. I just hate making boxes.
Fair enough.
Because I always hate the way they come out because I'm not actually good at it. And also I hate doing roofs. Fuck the roof.
Yeah, roofs are kind of annoying.
Roofs
Even
are
I mean, in
hard.
2 they were annoying, but like even so, roofs are just a bitch.
Roofs are hard. So
Yeah.
I get a house and I decorate a house.
Yeah, I pretty much majority of my houses, I built a few, but majority of them are like all pre-built shit. And then I just,
I like decorating.
slap some basic interior stuff in there. Mainly,
No,
and
I
usually...
go all in on my interiors, which is why I can't play in them because they're too expensive.
No.
It's true.
The
Jeez.
Sims is a game in theory that I feel like I should like, but there's something like about it that I really don't like. I've tried to play it multiple times, and I just don't know. There's something about it that is like, not for me, and I don't
Is it kind of
know
like
exactly
a lack
what
of
it is.
direction for you? But not in the
I don't
sense of
know.
like the
She
open
loves
worldness?
lack of direction. Look at the game she likes.
Oh,
I
true.
don't
Like,
know.
not with
It's like-
Zelda.
Is it the fact that there's like
I think it's kind of
no
boring.
characters?
Yeah,
Is it
it
the
might
fact that
be
you have to
because
is
it's
it
like
not
'cause-
lack of imagination, but like you have to make your own. You have to really make your own fun. It
because
is a
yeah,
shell
because
of a
I
game.
don't like
Mhm.
the like making a character and having them live a life aspect of the game,
Yeah.
but also the
Fair enough.
decoration part of the game isn't interesting enough that I want to play it
No,
constantly.
I love decorations.
For me, making the character live the life is like actually why I do like The Sims a lot. And same thing with the pet, especially with the pet aspect when I was younger. So like that was always a big thing for me. Like I enjoyed that sort of stuff and making them excel and stuff and do different careers and stuff like that. So I really like that part of it. But I feel like people who play Sims, they always like their favorite things are always different aspects they like about the Sims
It depends on what you
games.
want to be involved in, because some people only like building. Some people
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
like making a family and then playing that family for 18 generations.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And then you have the people that are just like
Let me murder
some people
people.
really like some people just like challenges. You can do any the thing with the Sims is you can do anything because there are no characters and no rules. And then you could just kill them.
Yep.
You could kill them.
You just
They
kill
did
'em
make it
if you
in
want.
Sims 4 you can't just take the ladder out of a pool. They will just get out of the pool.
Oh
Like
damn it.
like a
did
logical
take
person would do.
Yeah, they will physically get out of, but you can like block them into the pool.
Right,
with
right.
like a little wall.
Mm-hmm.
But like for they took out the very easy method, which is put them in the pool and then take out the ladder.
Right.
They
They're
will
like-
still get out now.
They're like, people do this way too much, we're gonna make this not as
it's
easy
a
to
little
kill them.
it's a bit too easy way of killing your Sims.
Yeah.
It's a little too easy. Much like, locking them in a room and then just leaving them. All right, number 1.
All right. So my
Number one,
number
Kayla.
1 game. It is Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Shocker.
Ah,
Shocker.
Yes.
Fucking shocker.
And
You've played
so
that game so much.
I've played at least 500 hours of this game. It's an
No shit.
insane amount of time I put into
You
this
and like
game.
every other person that owned a Switch in 2020.
Yes.
Like,
Well, okay, so the game also came out right at the start of lockdown, so there was not a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
else
why.
I
Perfect
could do
timing.
at that time in my life.
Yeah.
But the Animal Crossing franchise is something I have been playing since I was like 8 or 9. Like, this is the game franchise I have consistently played the most over the course of my whole life. There's something just really relaxing and fun about it. I know a lot of people who play Animal Crossing hate this game. And it's for reasons that make sense, but none of the reasons they hate it for are things that I care about in the game. Because I play it more so as like a collection. I like the collection element and I like the decoration aspect mostly. And a lot of people hate that it's decoration simulator the game. That's what I absolutely love about it. The like changes they made to how you can terraform your island and put furniture outside was like the biggest game changer they could have ever made to this game, and it just increased my enjoyment of it so much. And it's like, and instead of playing The Sims, I play my interior decorator simulator in the Happy Home Designer DLC of this game, where you just decorate houses for villagers, and that's all I
That's
do.
fun.
I mean, that makes sense, yeah.
That's your
yeah.
that's your
It's my
dream home
aesthetic.
decorator.
It's my
That's your
aesthetic more so
aesthetic.
because it's cute and like not as realistic for some reason, and I really enjoy that. Making houses for little animals. But
I could never get into this game entirely because I cannot do the beginning grind.
yeah, this is also another
Yeah.
game that
Fuck
lacks
that.
direction. There's not a lot
That
of
too,
direction.
but like not. In,
I
like,
feel
the
like
Sims
I
fun
feel like
kinda
it doesn't
way,
lack as
but
much
dear
compared
God,
to.
do I hate
yeah.
the grind at the
Yeah.
beginning.
There was a lot of
play,
grind in this game.
Yeah, so I also play this game in a way that I know a lot of people hate, where I am like a time skipper. I will go set my Switch clock ahead of time to progress the game faster, because a lot of people play
That's
this
the
game
other thing I hated.
to exist as like a daily thing, and you go on, you play it for a little bit, and people hate people who time skip. Like, I don't fucking give a shit. When I play video games, I play them a lot, like at a certain period of time. Like, if I want to play a video game, I want to play it to 8 hours a day if I am able to.
Oh yeah, I fast forward all the fucking time in like Sims 2 and a lot of aspects to get through things quicker.
Like, I am not
So, like,
here
who
to wait
cares?
a whole day for Blathers to build a museum for me. I want that shit now. Like, I'm not here to wait around. And so I do that. I think another big complaint people have about this game is that the villagers don't feel as like, they don't have as much personality as they did in the past games, which I agree with, but that's also not a thing I ever cared about. Like, I talk to my villagers and I think they're fun, but like, I'm not here to build real relationships with them or like anything in that type of way. So I don't care. Another complaint people have is that they stopped releasing DLC, and I just think it's wild that you would expect a game that has never received consistent DLC to receive constant DLC and updates, and that was a thing that
is an indication they're probably working on a new iteration.
It was super weird to me that I kept hearing people complain about it so much, and I'm like, this game has never in its past been a game that receives constant updates. I don't understand why people were suddenly expecting that out of it.
God.
Yeah. But it got
especially for how chill of a game this is. Like, you're bitching about a game getting DLC.
Yeah, and I enjoy the fact that it is a decoration simulator, because I spend so much time, like, I put a lot of time into decorating my island and getting the crafting stuff, and I just play the extra Happy Home Designer DLC, and I just design houses sometimes in the UI, for that's much easier than on your regular island, and so sometimes when I just want to decorate a house, I go do that. And there's just so many things about it that I love, and considering I played this game since I was a child, like, every aspect of the game I could have wanted more of, they gave me in this game. So I absolutely love it. I love the new villagers they added. I think they're adorable. I just love the amount of freedom they gave you with the amount of things you can decorate and add to your island in this game. And so I loved it so much. I think I have also a lot of like nostalgia for it as well, just the whole franchise, and so that's probably another reason why I love it so much. But I love this game. It's great. It's so fun, so cute.
What's kind of funny when it comes to Animal Crossing for me, I played this for a good while, then I just stopped and haven't picked it up in a hot minute, like a real hot minute since. But it's kind of funny because my Switch is the Animal Crossing version.
Oh, really?
That was what they had available at the time.
That's so funny.
The beginning of 2021, it is the Animal Crossing version. I'm like, I actually really like the color design on this and how it's designed.
Cute.
It's a really cute
Switch. Yeah.
But it's like that was the only version they had, so I love the design colors on it. By the way,
yeah, it's adorable.
But I need to pick up this game again. It's been a hot minute since I literally abandoned my islands a couple years. 2 or 3 years ago.
I recently
need to go back to it.
I played it pretty recently because I brought it to the allergist to play after I got my allergy shot.
Oh, nice.
Because I was just
to wait an hour.
Yeah, I was just feeling the urge to decorate a house, so I was like, I'll bring Animal Crossing with me. Why not?
I mean, granted, I have the old original like version of the Switch, so the battery life is like 4 hours at most or something stupid like that. So like that's why it's. Unless you have like external battery you can carry, so then you can like constantly charge the thing. It's like such a pain in the butt. I feel like sometimes the brain travels, so I just keep it docked for the most part.
Right.
So it's like I'm pretty sure you have the OLED though, right? I think that one has better battery life.
I have
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I'm pretty sure I have a version that is like newer, so it doesn't have as many battery issues, but I do have like a regular Switch.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, granted, at this point, you're probably just gonna wait to this inevitable alleged Switch 2 or
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
they end up calling it
definitely.
comes out, which is fair at this point.
That's
So,
where I'm at. I
yeah, which is
considered.
fair.
I have also multiple times considered buying a Switch Lite or a second Switch just to start a second Animal Crossing island. Like, that is the only game where I've considered buying an entire new console just to play the game.
The Switch Lite is probably the best, cheapest handheld console
I know,
you got out there at the moment.
It's not that expensive.
So,
So many times I was like, man, I really want to play Animal Crossing over from the beginning, but I don't want to delete my whole island. What if I just bought another Switch?
I mean, like, and also, like, that one's the only one that's portable only, so, like,
Yeah.
you just take that wherever, so it's like, you just kind of deal with the battery life and hope it lasts you long enough, but it's the smallest also to bring around, and you don't have to worry about Joy-Cons drifting as much and all that crap,
Yeah.
so...
But it's great. It's a great game.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
No, yeah, it's been a hot minute since I played this. I want to get back to it at some point, but again, personal life's a little bit busy at the moment, so, like, and prioritizing stuff, so it's, like, probably not gonna happen yet, but I want to get back into it, considering I own the fucking version, and the station dock for it's cute too, it has a cute little
It's
design
really
of
cute.
Tom Nook
Yeah.
on it, so I'm like, oh. But yeah, great chill game. One of the best chill games out there to play.
It's a great game.
Or as they call it, cozy games,
Mhm.
technically. But, I mean, it's a chill game, in my eyes. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Alright! My number one, I've just come to accept, and
I
to
know,
no
I
surprise
already
to
know what it
anyone,
is, yeah.
who the fuck it is. You know what the fuck it is. I'm not like the other girls, it's Ghost of Tsushima. Now on PC for Steam. Holy fuck yes. Even though PlayStation's being a bitch with their online stuff. To my understanding, you can completely play this game on a Steam Deck. It's just that the online Ghost of Legends, if you want to play that, it apparently doesn't work, and you have to have a PlayStation account and all that other bullshit. Which, for me, I don't really play Legends that much anyways on the main console, so it doesn't matter, but unless you're an online play, then sucks to suck. But the base game's fantastic. Like, to me, this is one of the best exclusives for a console ever created. Of course, it's not an exclusive anymore, because now it's on Steam and stuff. But... to me, it is probably the best PlayStation exclusive that I've ever played. It is my favorite PlayStation exclusive. It is just so good. The PS5 version, great update. The Director's Cut has fantastic DLC. It's a fun challenge. Like, this is an open world action type adventure. A great story, definitely. You can clearly like, this was also made by Sucker Punch Studios, based out in the West Coast. And they did such a fantastic job adapting, making, like, to the point that Japan was so impressed by this game. They gave it, like, the highest score on Famitsu, and then, like, they freaking gave honorary, like, some type of honor, made the main creators of this game honorary ambassadors to Tsushima. Like, that's how much they fucking love this game, and how well received historically it is. There are a couple inaccuracies, but more so based on, like, clothing and, like, weapons they use. More so, those items occurred later on, like a couple hundred or a few hundred years later than, like, the time period it's in, but at the same time, most samurai films you see happen to take place during the Edo period, so it's more in line with what shows up in samurai films. So, like, it's not really inaccurate, but kind of, but not really. But it's kind of accurate because that's what the weapons and armor evolved to because of the attacks from the Mongols on Tsushima and on Japan. So, like, it's accurate, but just not specifically at that specific point in time, technically, but it's accurate, technically. So, but it's a fantastic story. One of the few stories, video game stories, where there's, like, that's more, like, in-depth and has a great story, where there is, like, no major love interest, and I do not give a shit that there isn't. It's just a great, story about humanity and honor, and about the notable, like, talked about stuff you hear, not only in, like, the Jedi Kai, like, samurai films and stuff like that, but also just, like, it's a fun gameplay. It just basically pushed... Basically, for all those people being like, I want an Assassin's Creed Japan, this basically became the Assassin's Creed Japan, ultimately. And it's such fun gameplay. Jin is a great character. There's great character acting in this game as well. And they have really great sub-stories for, like, notable sub-characters. Like, secondary characters. There's, like, really good sub-stories for them as well, for the most part. And they're all complex and individual, and reflected, too, of the time period and stuff, and traditions and customs and stuff of different aspects of Japan around that time. And I really appreciate that. That's a great way to involve history. I love the gameplay system and the upgrading system in this game. Like, God, I love the drip they create for Jin to wear. There's so many fun combinations of colors you can do for this game. Not enough orange though and green in my opinion, and hopefully they improve upon that within the next iteration, because they're definitely, based on job application stuff they're working on, probably a Ghost follow-up. Whether that's called Tsushima 2 and we still follow Jin, or whether that's some other type of Ghost story that takes place in Japan at a later on time, I don't fucking know what's gonna happen, but I'm looking forward to it. It's probably the one PlayStation exclusive I am mainly looking forward to at this point. That most likely will still be a PlayStation exclusive because Sucker Punch is directly owned by a PlayStation studio, so like, yeah. Maybe eventually we'll get the PC. Another 4 years after its release. Or maybe sooner, who knows. Maybe nowadays sooner. But it took them 4 years for this, and I think they're starting to PlayStation's slowly starting to increase letting its video games go to PC sooner. I think God of War Ragnarok's coming out like this year, a little bit later on, so like not too far off from not too far off, but it might take a little bit of time. I think it's one of those, wait a couple years and then they'll eventually put it on PC kind of deal, which makes sense. But no, yeah, this is just a great video game. Easily the most fun open world I played, because I love the UI, how they use the wind in this game as a helpful direction leading thing to get to like an objective. It is so useful, but also integrated seamlessly, where you don't have to stare at a mini-map, you just literally follow the wind. It's the greatest thing. And it's like literally so simplistic, but like super smart as well. I love that aspect of the game. What else is there to say? I mean, it's just a great video game. It's such a fun game to play for me. I love it so much. I never get sick of it. I probably replay this game how many times now? At least 4 or 5 times fully.
Oh my god.
Yeah, ridiculous. I put definitely put over 300 hours into this game in different iterations. So it's and this is coming from a girl who was probably truly the one not like other girls thing I had in my life was having an interest in samurai films. Because what bitch do you know that watches samurai films? And out in the West, it's white or black dudes. I'm just being honest with you. And the white dudes look like fucking neckbeards. Like that's the stereotype. You ain't hearing girls talk about Jedikai films like this. Like, I'm probably one of the few girls that I can think of that had such a strong interest when I was in like high school and college. I haven't seen any recently, I'll be honest. Because not interest change, but like life happens and distractions happen, but like that was such a thing that I was like, I want to really badly play this in a video game setting, and this is that game. Like, doing that kind of storyline in that game, which I love. Love. I'm curious to see what the next game in this franchise will be, and hopefully I think people are hoping something's gonna come out next year. Hopefully, we'll see. I'm guessing probably 2025, 2026 I'm looking forward to something coming out for PlayStation, and hopefully it will be on the PS5, because that's what I own, and I'm just like, that's gonna be the one like PlayStation game I basically will probably that might be the one I will probably pre-order. I don't recommend pre-ordering games usually, but that's probably gonna be the one I'll pre-order and like just pay at full price, because fuck it. Hopefully it's still good. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Sucker Punch hasn't disappointed me yet. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's cool. Love it. Love this game. Highly recommend it, especially if you have Steam. Please check this game out. It's just so much fun. You feel like such a boss-ass bitch controlling Jen, just being like cutting up Mongols and some bandits and some other enemies along the way. You just feel like such a boss-ass bitch. But the thing I also appreciate too was the horrors of war they show in this game. Like, you will come across dead bodies on the road, and some they're not super graphic, but pretty horrific stuff you'll show up across this game. So like, it definitely imparts the seriousness of the situation. It's not all fun and games. Like, it is still fun to play, but like, I appreciate the serious tone it kept throughout the whole situation, how dire it was for Jin to like try to help the island that he grew up in, and being like the last, not really the last samurai on the island, because there's a few, but like the numbers have dwindled, and he's like the only one that can get out there and do some stuff to help people. So like, I appreciate that seriousness that's taken in this game. But yeah, basically, if you have PlayStation, get it. If you have Steam, please get it. It will work on your, from what I hear, it will work on the Steam Deck. Just maybe not the online mode, but like the online mode, it's whatever. Like, it's fine. Unless you really care for online mode, you'll be fine just playing the base game probably on your device. So like, just get it. Highly recommend paying for it. Highly, highly, highly recommend. All right, and then I think we'd have Sammy left.
What is
Let's
Sammy's
go.
favorite video game of all time?
It's iconic, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's DisneyChannel.com.
Yeah.
I mean, facts.
Amazing.
Big facts. Big
Absolutely
facts,
amazing
honestly.
Disney
That is the
Channel.
truth. God, so many online games for
have
me was
the-
DisneyChannel.com.
you have Stitch.
So iconic, actually.
Naked
You
Mole
have the
Rat,
Stitch Sandwich Shacker.
Switch.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
the
have the
Sweet
Naked
Life and
Mole
Zack and
Rat,
Cody
The
games.
Sweet Life Zack and Cody games.
Yeah.
Hannah Montana games.
Wait,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Nacho.
Impossible games.
Yes.
The Stitch
God.
Sandwich Stacker. The Lilo and Stitch games were fun. They
That-
were really fun.
That was my game, was the Lilo Stitch
The
Sandwich
sandwich-
Stacker.
yeah.
That was
Sandwich
my video
Stacker.
game.
I fucking love Sandwich Stacker.
That and
Just
the
like the
Zack and Cody, like in the putting up
In
posters
the
in
elevators?
the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Those were fun.
Those are my games. I love those so much.
Love those.
Such
These are
great
Flash
iconic,
games.
man.
They're
What else do
so
you want me to
good.
tell
They were
you?
so good.
DisneyChannel.com.
Disney Channel had a good thing
Had the
going
bangers.
online.
They did. They had
They did.
these banger
Back
games.
when the
and
website
also...
was so janky.
Yes.
But the
Yeah.
website was so janky.
Oh, it was
and half
definitely
the-
janky.
Well, it was the early 2000s.
They had
Of
all
course.
these banger
Everything
video
was janky.
games and also Club Penguin, and they're
And
just,
also,
and where are they
God.
now?
well,
Yep.
you can still play all of these Disney Channel games online.
Yes, so people have
Even
saved
though
those.
people have saved these. These are
Yeah, I
games
think
that-
they were Flash games of a
They
good
were,
chunk of them.
which is
Yeah.
funny.
Because I think they
God,
shut down that.
icons.
I think they
They
shut down
down
that
Flash,
type of
but
Flash
no, they're still
server.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, people
ported
definitely
them.
ported
People
them, that's where-
archived
Yeah.
these ones, yeah.
They're so
Thank
iconic.
God for
I
these
miss-
internet
They're
archivers.
so
Bless
fun
them.
though. Everything was just so cute in these
Fantastic.
like early 2000s Disney Channel Flash games. Hours of my time.
So good.
Hours of my time while I also had Disney Channel the station playing.
Of course. Because what
'Cause
else
of
would
course
you
you
do
did.
at that time?
What else was I supposed to do?
Wasn't a Disney Channel the station while playing Bueno Nacho
Disney
Rufus?
Channel Flash.
Bueno Nacho.
Bueno Nacho Rufus.
Yeah.
That game got hard.
It
Though.
was
Oh,
really
yeah.
hard.
That game got really hard as it went on. Oh my god, it was like rough to
I
play.
know.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was definitely.
I don't know
speed.
why these Flash games got so difficult.
That and
Because like
Sandwich
Sandwich
Stacker
Stacker
was
also
got hard.
like so
yeah.
hard.
I know.
I think it's.
Like,
I think the problems are
there's-
just games that are designed to see how.
They're
far
designed
you
to
can
go on
go.
loop. There's no
Yeah.
end. There is no winning. But
Apparently,
holy
there's an
shit,
end to Tetris. That's what I've heard.
There
'cause
is an
someone
end to
beat the
Tetris.
game.
Tetris is a real video game.
Yeah.
This is
This
not
is
a real video game.
DisneyChannel.com.
This
No,
is
yeah.
DisneyChannel.com.
Iconic.
I don't know what
Well,
else to say.
I think they're
DisneyChannel.com.
real
iconic.
computer video games, but they just don't have an end. They're designed to go.
They're
forever.
designed to go on for until
Yeah.
you lose. There's no winning.
Yeah.
Tetris is designed for at some point you get so good it could end.
Yeah.
And
But
the
this
deal with
is-
that is to get
who
the highest
cares?
score before you lose. Basically,
These games were
That's
meant to
the thing about these
entertain
games.
children for an amount of time. So it
Yeah.
was
For
really...
X amount of time
Yeah.
before they were meant to send you back to go watch the actual programming.
Exactly, right.
Yeah, and then
Because
like,
this
and
is
of
back
course
even
they're
before they put ads on this site. The
Oh,
ads
yeah.
for Disney.com were Disney, much
Just
like
Disney.
Channel.
They were just Disney ads, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Much like Disney Channel, the network.
Yes, yes.
Disney Channel, the website, also only had
Only
ads
Disney.
for Disney Channel.
Right.
yeah,
Which
period.
is not an ad.
Yep.
It's your own company.
Yep.
Such a good, such iconic times.
It was great.
I miss these times.
I know. They were great times. But that has been everybody's favorite video games of all time. What a variety of games we have here.
Literally, I'm
Quite a
glad. But that's like the beauty of video games. Like,
Yes.
you have the simple flash games or like mobile games as like for anyone to pick up and play, and it's so easy to like play it and then go back to it later. You have, you know, your Japanese-based RPG games and other cool MMO games, and then you have some like fun action games and simulation games they got coming out in the West. Like,
Yep.
it's just such a nice wide variety of video games that
going
there's
into this
something that appeals to
episode,
everyone.
The only overlap I expected going into this episode was Baldur's Gate 3, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't expect to overlap. Anyone is going to overlap on anything else other than that.
Except for Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because literally we and you wouldn't shut up about it.
Right,
and
right, exactly.
Me, you, and everyone else. Let's
I
be
know,
honest
I
here,
know.
that
It
played that
wasn't.
game.
It wasn't
Like,
just us. Yeah.
No, it was not
I
just
have
us.
opinions on Baldur's Gate 3.
Right.
Much less anyone else.
I still get TikToks on Baldur's Gate 3. So
I still get
I get
reels on
TikToks on
YouTube of
Baldur's
Baldur's
Gate.
Gate
Yeah.
3. People are dedicated to this
I
game
know.
and replaying it forever.
great.
It is crazy. Oh my god.
yes, but that has been our top 10 Showdown video games. Hooray!
Woo!
Hooray.
We
Hooray.
are
I'm dying. Please
Yes,
end
Yeah.
this.
we are
Let's end this.
available
Put the AC
on
back
all
on.
major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We also have a YouTube channel where we put all of our episodes. And if you have a video element to the podcast that you watched, you will see the fun little PowerPoint slides for all of this episode as well.
Yay.
Yay.
And with that, we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.